G'day and welcome to On The Esky, an Australian sports podcast where we like to sink a few tin Cahills. The tins that we're starting off with tonight. Capital Brewing Co. comes out of Canberra, Australia. Was down there yesterday for the wife's birthday. Beer and burger, lovely. Coast Ale, refreshing. Get around them. Another unofficial sponsor of the Esky. Sure, why not? This week's show, we're talking cricket. We're watching cricket. Real cricket's back. White uniforms, red balls, and another wicket. Let's go. Do we enforce a follow on? Let's have a look. Who cares? T20 World Cup, it's hit and giggle. Who cares? Australia is playing the West Indies in the first test at Perth, the start of the Australian summer. That is a great catch there by David Warner. England scored a few runs against Pakistan. We'll talk briefly about that. And boys, there's a little thing called the World Cup going on at the moment, the World Game. And for the second time in history, Australia are out of the group stage. Probably going to win the whole thing, about 326 to 1.
Argentina.
Load up. Argentina, they lost to Saudi Arabia. Matthew Leckie going to show Lionel Messi how it's done. We'll talk that. We'll talk NFL Week 13. We're approaching the playoffs, a bit of a playoff picture starting to form there in the NFL. We've got the NBA's, nearly a quarter of the way through the season. Bit of fight news, bit of dribble, etc., etc. Please remember, we have timestamps. If you're following us on YouTube, you can skip to the sports that you like, or if you're a complete nuffy, watch the whole thing. Subscribe on the YouTube, follow on the socials, etc., etc. Check out the Carlton Draft, DRAFT. Use the code ESKY, ESKY, for 20% off any Carlton Draft gear. They do good gear. The way we like to start the show is by shouting a beer to commend good work in the sporting arena during the week. Sean, the man on my left, how are you? Who will you be shouting a beer this week?
Oh, mine's very simple, and I would like to shout out a beer to Ivana Knoll this week. That's about it.
Who is Ivana Knoll?
You can do the Googling yourself later on.
That's it?
Can you do the Googling?
Wink, wink.
Nudge, nudge. Don't need to turn. Yes, I did see this. This was a buxom Croatian fan that was there
At the World Cup.
At the World Cup, just really shitting on Qatari culture.
Yes, death-defying antics, as let's call them. So, yes.
If that's against Qatari culture, I don't know. I don't want to be Qatari, quite frankly.
At this rate, much prefer to be Croatian.
Yeah, interesting. So you can do your own Googling in your own time if you haven't seen that one. The red and white of Croatia. Got out of the group. Hard group. Belgium, go on.
Yep.
Maybe Ivana cheering from the sidelines helped out Luka Modric and the boys, etc., etc. Three married men here. Three married men. Very happy.
Yes, a couple of good distractions.
Yeah, don't want to be divorced by the end of the show. So, again,
Clearing
just
the
check
players
that out if you want.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can neither
Ivana Knoll.
confirm nor
Not a very
deny.
Croatian surname, is it? No. Maybe it's short for Nolovic or Novanovic or Ivana Humpalot or something like that. Shout out to Austin Powers. Twins, Basil. Monkey Magic, the fastest research man in the Southern Hemisphere when he's on his game, which is rarely.
Very rarely.
How are you? How's your week been? You're sounding like you've been on the TRT or something.
The ball's finally dropped.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds sexy. What's going on?
Yeah. No, I've been following the Liver Kings diet.
Oh, Liver King.
Yeah, we'll mention that a little bit later. No, a few Christmas parties this week as we close out the year of work, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, probably a little bit worse for wear after a busy week, both professionally and I guess non-professionally. I don't know
Socially.
how to call it that. Socially.
Social
Sure.
butterfly.
Let's go with that. My shout for the week. Kind of flew a little bit under the radar, probably because we didn't have a podcast last week. And
Sure.
Didn't really get a lead in, but I'd just like to shout a beer out to all the boys who made it through the 2022 national draft for the AFL.
Mm-hmm. A lot of beers. You love shouting beers.
I love shouting beers. I'm a very generous person
Yeah.
once you get to know me.
Shouted a bunch of these from the wedding.
Yeah, no one wanted to drink them.
I'm doing my best now.
That's it. No, so yeah, good group of boys. So probably just list off the first five. So Aaron Cadman went to GWS.
Tall forward.
Tall forward.
Out of Ballarat.
Yeah. Played for Greater Western Victoria Rebels in the NBA League. After him,
NAB League.
NAB
League,
League, sorry.
yes.
Yeah.
What did I say?
NBA.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty impressive to go from the NBA to the AFL. Turn down a
Would
big
that
offer.
be impressive? Yeah.
Yeah, big offer from the Brooklyn Nets, and I'll just go play for GWS. Thanks very much.
That's it. No. Brisbane Lions been in with second pick. Got the father-son selection of Will Ashcroft. Number 3 and number 4 both went to North Melbourne, Harry Chazelle and George Warlord. Number 5, my Bombers picked Elijah Sitas.
Satsas, I'd say.
Sitas. Yeah.
Greek.
There
I'd
we
say
go.
that's a Greek name.
Yeah. There you go. So, props to the boys for getting drafted, and good luck to whichever team that trades for Aaron Cadman when he matures into a good player.
Yeah, when he gets the shits with being at GWS. Interesting. It's a lot of people had him going first. It kind of fits the hole that Jeremy Cameron left a few years ago. Obviously, they tried to bring in Jesse Hogan. Hasn't exactly worked out as their key forward. Toby Green does a lot as a small, but they need that big, tall target up front. Hard to develop. Big talls. We saw Jamara Ugle-Hagen get taken first overall a couple of years ago, and starting to hit his strides now. So you're probably looking at like a 2 to 3 year development window at least for an 18-year-old tall forward.
Yeah,
but
that's it.
Good on him and all the young blokes that will be getting stuck into their first AFL pre-seasons. Yeah. So
I think a few
luck
clubs
with that.
have already started.
yeah. Something
They would do, yeah.
that these boys here would probably last about 2 minutes, 3 perhaps, before succumbing to lack of athletic ability and fitness.
Just complete bodily shutdown.
Yeah, rhabdomyolysis. Boys, I'm going to shout Cam Smith a beer, although I imagine he had plenty. I'm talking golf Cam Smith. He won the Australian PGA last weekend at Royal Queensland. I was lucky enough to be there. I was about from here to the wall away from him at times. Absolute scenes, really nice weather until the 4th day when it absolutely pissed down up there at Royal Queensland. If you've never been to a live golf event in Australia, especially at Royal Queensland, I suggest you do. They've got the party hole on the 17th. It's absolute scenes. They pump music, so forget about quiet, please. They're absolutely pumping bangers. Pretty easy par 3. Most of them stick it pretty close. They'll generally throw their ball into the crowd, get a bit of crowd work going, beers flowing, music. It's really fun. Cam Smith comes down. He's been overseas for quite some time, famously taking that $100 million bag next year to go to live golf. But he's showing that he is one of, if not the best golfer in the world at the moment. And it was interesting to see the crowds following him. There was big names still around like Mark Leishman and Adam Scott and the likes of those big name Aussie players as well as some internationals. But it was all about Cam Smith and he got the job done. He's in extreme form, and the boys are actually playing the Australian Open down in Melbourne at the moment, which I believe Scott is leading. Is that correct?
Yeah, Scott is leading. Actually, so tied first with Daniel
Mizzicelli.
Yeah, both Aussies. And then, Cam Smith's actually a little bit further down the order at the moment.
Too much partying up there.
Yeah.
With other, I think he was with other Cam Smith of rugby league and Dirty Queenslander fame.
Yeah, there you go. It'll probably take a few days to recover and then work his way back up the order.
Indeed.
Some of the scenes of him at the hotel drinking beers with his mates, watching himself on the replay win the tournament. It was definitely great viewing.
He's so sick, man.
Yeah.
He hit a bloke actually. So we were getting that one of us as he just put it right fairway. We'd probably be happy with that drive, but it turns out when there's thousands of people watching it, you can actually just nick someone, and he's playing it up. Like that bloke they got. Sniped in the live golf. Oh, I'm dead. Throwing it around a little bit.
Where's my bag?
Oscar nomination, but he actually came up and he said, who'd I hit? And he found the bloke and signed a ball for him, gave it to him. And just seemed like an all-round good bloke.
Is the mullet as luscious as it is in person?
I think it's more lush. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, a bit of homoerotica was going on in my head. That's on the internet now.
Well, you got a little bit of a wave from him, so
Yeah, I did get
did
away.
that keep you up at night?
Look, to be honest, one of the boys got a fist bump, and I don't think he's washed his hand. Yeah. Anyways, he's very good at golf, and he's a crowd pleaser, and hopefully he does very well next year in the Live Golf, taking that bag. Mop of the week. A lot of people listening may or may not be familiar with this bloke. He's a rig, and it kind of makes sense. Sean, you've got the story.
Yes, well, ends up semi-sports related, but we're going to hand out a mop to Liver King, who has, to promote his way of life, his diet.
Steroid use.
We'll get to that bit.
Ancestral
been in and around, the sporting scene with other athletes, especially in the US, especially in the MMA space in the UFC. Took photos with Hasbulla, and there's a bit of a quote there. Hasbulla was below was like, "Hey, I'd rather take a photo with a dog." So yeah, it was just like, well, maybe he knew something. But reports came out during the week that he's a big phony. That it's not his primal diet of liver; it's the $12,000 a month of steroids is what he uses to maintain that incredible rig. Which
it is a wild rig. It is
unsurprising.
Yeah, you can't look at that bloke and think this guy's 100% natty.
Yeah.
Like, come on, wake up. First question. How did this come out? Was this a self-admission from Liver King? He's not an athlete, so he doesn't get tested.
Leaked email.
Leaked emails, yeah, with his doctor, essentially. Which, kind of, and it's, if he wasn't trying to be real and he was just playing it up as a character, it'd be hilarious. Like, he's like really funny.
I like him. I actually think he's good fun.
Yeah, like he's
hello, primals.
Yeah, like,
some liver.
Yeah, but he was on Logan Paul recently, and he was just like being super defensive, which again probably another red flag of how defensive he was.
Yeah.
It's just because he's gone that angle. That's the way he's trying to sell it. It's come out terribly. Yeah. So yes. So the leaked emails with his doctors back and forth with all the details of his whole regime and like his whole
he's got
lifestyle.
a whole line of like supplements and
and all that stuff. But yes,
he produces and markets out as being that natural sort of
natural D bowls straight from the liver.
That's it. Yeah.
No, it's HGH and a whole bunch of other things.
To me, who cares?
It's like 4 injections a day.
It's obvious. But it's a bit funny when people are like, no, I'm clean. And you're like, whew, if you're clean and that's what the human body is capable of, and I look like this, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Turns out it is steroids. I think it's quite funny. Who really cares, in my opinion?
Yeah.
Maybe if we want him to get looking, like us three rigs, he can have a bite of my liver after one of our podcasts.
Well, if he bit your liver, he'd die on the spot. Yeah. 1,000% alcohol, my God. I kid.
Trick man, maybe at the end of one of our podcasts.
But anyway, let's talk some cricket.
Yes.
And interesting, we were just discussing as well.
Oh, hang on. You dove straight in. Let's talk some cricket.
Okay. All right. Yes, and we were just talking about whether Australia would bat or not this evening, considering there's probably about an hour left of cricket with 313 or 315 in front. Will they enforce the follow-on and try and get this game done? But it looks like they're probably going to bat for the next day and then get them all out in the last day.
They're not going to bat for a day. They go out there, absolute license. Here's your license.
Yeah.
Show the bouncer. How many drinks have you had? Oh, yeah, 4, sure. All right. Out you go. Warner.
With that T20.
Yeah, exactly. Baseball. They're going to challenge. They're going to channel England, play a bit of baseball, if you will.
To me, it's more like how we draw this out to a 5-day test. It's like, we're here for batting practice. Let's get the batting practice. And it wouldn't surprise me if they bat all the way through to the start of the third session tomorrow and then send them in the evening and then see if they can run through them in a day in a session. So
the immortal Rupert Murdoch has sent down the message saying, "Boys, we've got to get this out to a fifth day because there's fucking no one there."
Yeah, the weekends finally here. We might get some crowds.
Yeah.
So,
and kudos to the West Indies. If you check the tape, a lot of us thought, well, this might be done in 3 days, and
they fought really hard.
They did fight really hard. A little bit of a capitulation towards the end of their innings, and Australia's going out with a lead of 316.
Yeah, well, I think the last 6 went for fuck all.
Yep.
But
that's a scientific term.
Yeah. But over the first 2 days leading into this, there'd been 4 wickets and over 700 runs scored. So
wild, hey?
So they're like, we're not trying to compare it to the road that we're talking about in Pakistan, but it kind of looked like it kind of looked like a little bit. But there's Australian sides turned up the heat today and have run through them. Both Paddy Cummins and Stark looked good, moving the ball around, bowling them over, knocking the pegs over. So, I think it's kind of heating up to a good
baseball.
Yeah, a good match here. Australia heavily favourites and in front. With that 4, we'll take them to 320 in front.
Let's go back to day 1. Australia won the toss, elected to bat. Warner goes early, pretty good rock that he got.
He'd be so guilty on himself considering the next 3 all
yeah,
almost got done.
Pretty much highway. Uzi fought hard for his 65. If you go back through his last 12, 18 months of cricket, unbelievable scenes. And then it was the absolute Marnus Labuschagne of Great Marn fame. Can you, hang on, you probably can't see it. Yeah, there we go. The Great Marn sticker, courtesy of Carlton Draft. And Steve Smith, they had a 251 run partnership. Marnus 204, Steve Smith 200 not. Marcus, can you chase up, please, Steve Smith's record? I imagine that average is back over 60, given that 200 with red ink. These boys, for mine, 1 and 2 best test sticks in the world, and good to see them out there just having an absolute net session.
Yeah, and I think the loose bus change maybe a little bit dirty that he didn't continue it on. I think I sent it in the group chat. It's just like they don't look like getting a wicket. They'll probably push to 300 here. He'll push to 300 before they even think about declaring. And he got out like within the next 3 balls. So.
Could you imagine being disappointed with 204?
Yeah. Well, against
I think
he's happy.
Nuffy loser, typical Australian.
But in the context of this game, where you had Steve Smith also get 200, and Travis Head almost get 100, like runs were here to be got. So and it felt like that with some of the wickets they got, especially David Warner's, like they kind of threw the wicket away versus the West Indies kind of setting them up and trying to actually trap them and get them out. So, definitely looked like they could have batted for 4 days if they really wanted to. But of course,
you still need to win a test match.
You still need to win.
Yeah.
They declared with
all out 1,600.
Yeah, but with losing Travis Head on 99, and then Steve Smith already gotten his 200. They declared it 4 for 598, which is a nice substantial lead after 2 and two. It wasn't 2 full days, a day and a
day. Yeah, nearly 2 full days. That record, it's probably before this test started, so keep that in mind.
Yeah,
average 59 something.
Average, he's back over 60.
Back over 60 already.
Hitting 61.47.
So, his average going to be 62.
Yeah.
He's so good, dude. Best since Bradman.
Well, I think that that one-day game kind of really gave him some confidence coming into this. And it's what you need.
He's back, baby.
Against the warm-up game, I guess, for South Africa in a couple of weeks.
Well, and we've been talking about T20 cricket, and was he in our best 11? And he only featured once, I think, in the T20 World Cup. Yeah. Don't worry about that, Smudge. Just go out there and just keep making double tons, bruh.
Yeah.
And the apprentice Marnie, he goes pretty good as well. It's nice to see them out there. They're quirky boys. The word Asperger's has been thrown around. it's a harsh word, and it's obviously it's an endearing word. It's autistic in towards cricket. Just so obsessed, so good, so focused. They make it look so easy, don't they?
I think that's kind of been the big change that we mentioned for Steve Smith is he kind of toned it down a little bit. from the one day game about it. Essentially, his technique and the movement around the pitch, he very clearly could see that playing those one day games against England, and it's just translated straight into this cricket match, this Test match.
The term he used was he found his hands. Mm-hmm. He'd lost his hands. He's found them. Once I was lost, now I am found. Steve Smith has found his hands, and good luck to anyone bowling to him after he's found his hands.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes.
To the Windies' credit, we did think that they were going to get absolutely pants pulled down, obliterated this series.
Yeah.
Put up a reasonable fight. Craig Braithwaite, the skip, he made 64, saw a lot of rocks, 166 of them to be exact. Port and Krumah Bonner, he got hit in the head by Cam Green. He's confirmed out with a concussion, so they can replace him. And Ken Bat under the reasonably newish concussion rules.
It's a very interesting one because he batted for about 30 minutes after he got hit too. Looked all right, but obviously the late symptoms set in, and he was just like, "Yeah, I'm no good." So, which is great credit to himself to take him, protect himself essentially.
I don't know if it was him or the medical staff or a combination of
someone picked
both.
Up on it, but yeah, they retired him hurt, and he came out.
And then son of Shivnarine Chandapal, Tajanarine. I'm not sure if I'm getting that right. All I see is tangerine. That's all I see is tangerine. Nice citrus fruit there. He bats exactly like his old man. He's got that weird front-facing face up, and then he sort of steps across, and he looks pretty good. He made 51 on debut. He's not that young. He's 26, which is it's not old. It's not old. It's not old, but he's not a spring chicken, and it's weird turning on. The second day of a test match, and it's summertime, and I'm seeing Chandapal there, and I'm seeing the way he bats, and I'm thinking, it's 2001, and life is a simulation, and it's just history is on repeat.
Yeah,
interesting, and good on the young bloke. Apparently, he's been killing it for Guyana over there. In
a lot of their lead-up matches, he was probably the best stick they had. So it's good. He's kind of carried his form against a top tier team like Australia, and kept it going. I think, did he get hit from the balls 3 times?
It was a few hands, my man. There was a few men getting hit by a cricket ball. Give that man the $10,000.
Might be a bit bruised up in coming days, but yes. So
hope for West Indies Test cricket, or still a long way to go?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's maybe we're just going, credit to West Indies, blah blah blah. Maybe it's just indicative of what this deck is, and batting hasn't really been their problem. We saw in that New South Wales ACT game, they scored a lot of runs. The PM's 11 was a 4-day game, and scoring runs wasn't too problematic for them. Obviously, getting poles has been a real issue, which is so weird to think.
What's their bowling like? Look up, because Joseph looks massive and he looks very young. So there could be some talent coming through, but
they've got that Jaden Seals is their quickest. They've got Jason Holder, who has captained them in white ball cricket, and that Kemar Roach.
Roach is just bowling now.
Yeah.
Anyway, they use 7. They got that Roston Roston Chase, I should say, who bowls them dinky spinners. So probably not a elite test level spinner, but definitely doesn't look like Ambrose, Walsh and co of the 90s, and ask your old boys about the 80s and 70s.
Which is always probably a unfair comparison these days, considering that was 40 years ago.
Of course.
We might need to move on and think about what...
Or face one of these blokes before we shit talk them.
Yeah.
True.
Yes. True. So speaking of wickets, Paddy Cummins got his 200th just before. That's in 44 matches for him. I think they should have had Jeff Thompson up, and Jeff Thompson had 251 matches. His average was 21.69, I think.
So elite.
Which was only betted by Glenn McGrath.
For Australians?
For Australians.
And that's probably caveat 50 test wickets, 100 test wickets, something like that.
Yeah, well, that was their average across their careers. So,
But I'm sure there's someone that's anyway.
yeah. So McGrath was 564 or something for his total. So yes, he got another 300 or something to get to even get the conversation with McGrath. They had, I can't remember who the other two were on the list. There's 4 of them they showed on the broadcast. So
For lowest averages
yeah, for the lowest averages for Australia.
for Australians.
Yep.
DK Lilly.
I feel like Lily might have been one of them. I didn't want to say it because I just can't remember. I just remember it was McGrath 1 and Cummins 2 for definite. So, but either way,
Monks, you can chase that
he's in
one
an elite class for Australian fast bowlers.
Could you imagine if he wasn't hurt for the first 4 years of his career?
Well, I thought because they showed his first wicket, which was 2011.
Against South Africa as an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
And then he had the stresses in his back and had to do...
I was just like, wow, that was
essentially-
11 years ago. And I was like,
Yeah.
imagine if he'd played... He's only played 44 matches.
He could have 400 by now.
Yeah, easy.
It's wild. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's good to see what he's been able to do over the last few years. Hot boy Cummins. As soon as... Did you see that poll that he took today, top of off? I forget which stick it was for them. But
Holder?
Yeah, it might have been Holder. It might have been Holder, that one where it was like the perfect scene.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was in the living room, the wife was there, and I was just like, I'm not going to say orgasm, but like I've
You had
made
to clean yourself up afterwards.
I've made a sound which I probably shouldn't have. And my wife just looks at me and she goes, "Oh, it's your boyfriend again."
Yes.
Paddy, too hotty. Oh my goodness. That was an absolute rock. And just those eyes, they pierce. They pierce like those balls pierce the top of off. Could you imagine had he played, as a 19, 20, 21-year-old, would be talking about breaking all kinds of records.
Yeah, he'd be on Graham McGrath pace. That's what we'd be discussing. But,
indeed.
So, hey, caveat, like Glenn McGrath was never captain of Australia. So,
That's true.
so he's got his own accolades that he can tip his hat at.
Pat Cummins has never had a chant like, "Ooh, Glenn McGrath." I said, "Ooh, Glenn McGrath." Has he? Not that we're aware of.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to try to reuse that chant with Cummins in it because it doesn't sound right. But anyway.
Can you come? I said, I like Paddy come. I don't know. It's Friday night, boys.
Where are we going with that?
I like Paddy Come.
It's Friday night. We're watching cricket. It's summer. How good?
Yes. But unfortunately, we've got to talk about England.
Yeah, and how good they are at red ball cricket.
What those lowest average for Aussie
Oh, yes,
players?
averages, please.
Yes, Paddy Cummins is...
They're lower. He's lower than...
Ooh, there you go. There you go.
You got the numbers there for us, mate?
He picked up 2 more after he got his 200th.
Yeah, true. So McGrath, his average was 21.64, so very, very close. Behind him was Lindwall at 23.
Ray Lindwall.
Yep.
Throwback.
DK Lilly.
Yeah, told you, boys. Told you.
And who was Grimmett?
Clarence Grimmett. He was like
He's old.
pre-World War II kind of gear. Yeah.
What was Cummins' average now?
Cummins 21.5.
There you go.
So currently the lowest average. And what's the cutoff for wickets there? Is it 50? The lowest there is 67.
60.
Is it? No, that's
Hang on.
innings.
Wickets.
Everyone in that list has over 100 wickets.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. There you go.
Impressive stuff.
Yeah.
Shout out to Clarence Grimmett. I hope his first name's Clarence. I'm pretty sure it's Clarence.
It is now.
It is now.
England versus Pakistan.
Yes.
On the Rawalpindi Road, boys, you remember
highway.
back to the start of the year, the Pakistanis are good at building highways. Tell you what, must be some good reinforced concrete under these decks. Let's take everything away from the English performance and just put it completely on that deck. Yeah, we would have scored 600, us three. Definitely no skill of those Poms. Of course, I'm being facetious. The fifth most runs ever made in a day of Test cricket at 506, which was quite surprising. I looked up the most ever. It was England back in the 30s, again, caveat, against India, made 588 in a day's play, which is wild.
So caveat also most in Pakistan. So that was
most ever in Pakistan.
Most runs in a day in Pakistan. The last 100 overs. I think the first 25 overs of that day added up to 100 in total. At that point, they were like there hadn't been a wicket and 400 plus runs had been scored. So keeping with that road analogy. But yeah, 647. Everyone kind of turned up. There's a lot of names there, and unfortunately, yeah, England, though, coming over there, the story about the illness that maybe they would have to postpone this match or even cancel it because they couldn't field a team because everyone was crook. There was some bout of food poisoning. They brought their own chef over and they still got all sick. But by the morning of match day, they were like, hey, we've got 11 guys. We're healthy. We're good to go. Let us get out there. And it obviously didn't hinder them at all. They're all nice.
No, it didn't seem like it.
All nice and cleared out. They went out there and scored a fuckload of runs.
Tons to Zach Crawley, tons to Ben Duckett, tons to Ollie Pope. Probably the bloke that we need to talk about most is 23-year-old Harry Brook. We saw a little bit of him in the World Cup. Definitely a good striker of the white ball. Turns out he can hit the red ball too. He made 153 off 116 in this one, striking at over 130. His second Test match. He's going to be one to watch in the future. 23 years of age.
Mm-hmm. And what is it, a day? Are they going in
day two?
Three?
Yeah, day two.
Should be underway. Do you have a current score for us?
Yeah, Marks has got it there, 6:57 if you don't mind. And Pakistan off to a good start too.
Off to a good start, yeah. They're currently sitting at 9 for 60.
With Imam ul-Haq and Abdullah Shafiq at the crease there. Look, from what we're seeing, expect the draw to be on here and a bit of a net session.
That's it.
Uzi looks like
that looks like
touched that.
Yeah, it looks like Uzi gone.
And yeah, Usman gone for 6, 1 for 20. They've been throwing the batter in a little bit.
Oh yeah, this is Australia Baseball licenses, etc. We'll keep an eye on this as it plays out.
He shouldn't have played it. Yeah,
he smashed that. Yeah,
he just feathered. Gave him that a little tickle and straight to the keeper.
Now, Marks, we're out of order here, but the World Cup is on. So see if you can find the soccer button, the football button.
We should probably change that to Aussie, oi, after the last couple of weeks.
Aussie, oi. It's probably not our best work as Australians. No. Like, it's pretty shit. Like, when it comes to chants, you hear some of the English chants and you're like, we're just not quite there on chants, are we?
No, not at all.
No.
England does take it to another level, though.
They do, they do.
Yeah, well, they've got to be good at something because they're not good at sport. So.
Yeah, after we just spoke about them making 506 in a day.
Yeah, they won't win the World Chess Championship. We're at the top, so it's all good.
The World Chess Championship.
Test Championship. Sorry.
I thought you said chess as well.
We're never winning that either. Born to E5.
Yes, no, test. My lisp, trying to get that all out.
Chess Championship. Yes. That'd have to be between Russia and someone, surely. What's his name? Magnus Carlsen. He's a Swede, I think.
Maybe Vanna Knoll can get into that. But that's
I'd play chess against him.
Yeah. Different chest.
No. Have you heard this story?
Yeah. It was cheating.
Yeah. So apparently there was some dude cheating with anal beads.
What?
Yeah, it's real, dude. Monks, get it up.
How do you cheat with anal beads?
Apparently there's this young bloke and he beats some chess master at chess, not test cricket, at chess, and everyone's like, nah, that guy can't be beaten, blah, blah, blah. And then the way that they think that he was cheating was he had anal beads that were giving off a signal.
Well, remote vibrate. So they,
exactly, on what move to do.
Yeah.
Monks,
a bit of more code then.
And he's young. He's like real young. And they're like,
why didn't this get him up? This is hilarious.
So funny. It was a couple of weeks ago.
This is a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it's so funny. But apparently and it's all alleged at this stage. Alleged anal beads, alleged ability to cheat.
Well, if he had anal beads in his ass,
by using anal beads to give him the moves. Have I butchered this, or is there some iota of truth to this?
There is.
Should I keep talking?
Yeah, keep talking. I need to find.
So I don't know if it was Magnus Carlsen that he beat. He essentially
beat Magnus Carlsen.
It was Magnus Carlsen, who's a middle-aged Swedish chess grandmaster Norwegian. Apologies to my Norwegian listeners. Skull. Anyway, so he's been like at the top end of chess for quite some time. And this young,
Up-and-comer.
egotistical American, you'd love to hate him kind of bloke, goes out there and I don't think he beat him. I think Magnus quit because
he thought
of
something was
alleged cheating. And then he didn't want to comment too much. And the story is,
he hears lots of come from the other side of the table.
as per the internet, and the internet, it's a cruel mistress at times.
Yes.
But as per some stories, allegedly had been using anal beads to cheat.
I think you got to give Monks a bit of a shout for being confident to put that in his search history there. So,
Hey,
How to cheat at chess with anal beads.
It came up as like one of the, what was it, most searched? Yeah.
I think that's your previous search history.
did they have any measurements on size and girth?
So-
Like how committed was he?
no,
to this?
yeah.
Oh, sure. You just got to get the signal. It can be nice and small. Slip it in there.
So again, all allegations. I think it was a joke about the anal beads, the conspiracy theory. Although that being said, no one can confirm nor deny it.
There's only one bloke that knows.
Yeah, so they actually played once, and Carlson lost.
Yes.
They went to play a
so he did
second game.
lose, yep.
Yep, they went to play a second game, made one move, and then just quit the game
After one
in
move.
protest.
Yes.
What's the young fella's name?
The young fella's name is Hans Newman.
Hans Newman.
I think Hans has been around. I think I heard some of this.
No, he's 19.
19-year-old.
I think he's been around the test
child
series for a
prodigy.
while.
But yeah, I think there is allegations throughout his career.
Of cheating.
Yeah, but I guess
I think he's actually even admitted to cheating in online games in the past.
Yeah.
That's kind of where
Yes,
it
I believe.
overlaps.
Yeah, I believe I did see that.
I don't know.
Who would have thought 3 chess fans here?
yeah.
Oh well, it's sport. It jumps in the feed
Is it
occasionally.
sport? Is it sport? Is it recreation?
Well, did you see Rogan's thing on chess
You
players
make
recently?
money out of it.
Yeah. So it's not our podcast.
So,
Yeah, I have heard bits and pieces on Rogan.
yeah, they talk about the study they did on how all the chess masters were losing.
They got to make weight, dude.
Yeah, well, no, considering that they're sitting there playing chess and you're playing for hours, but they're still losing lots of weight. So they wondered what was going on. But it sounds like they
Anal beads.
potentially anal beads, but it's the mental.
The strain, the
mental strain,
energy.
mental energy was essentially them still burning heaps of
Calories.
and they were all losing weight. So,
Interesting.
yes. So I guess we need to be smarter than considering all these dad bods. So.
Yeah, a few. Yeah, a few getting around.
Yeah, unfortunately.
No, it's all right.
Do you reckon it'd help me with my podcasting?
Anal beads?
Yeah.
What? We down to the end of
That'd be a different. That might be.
well, that's why we thought your throat's a bit sore. But anyway. World Cup, that's enough.
Let's talk some World Cup.
Let's talk some soccer.
Let's
go to
talk
the
some World Cup and edit out the last 15 minutes.
Australia. So we're talking about Australia chance. Australia to the 16. They got 2 wins, which I think is really important over really good teams in Tunisia and Denmark to make us through to the round of 16, each with a 1-0 scoreline there. Of course, got dicked a little bit by France as expected, followed by resting their whole team against
the whole team, essentially.
Yeah,
and then going out and losing.
Yes.
So thank God we won
Yes.
the other night against Denmark.
Big win there for us. So, yeah, what group are we? We're group D.
D.
So,
Yeah.
For the D group, France tops it, and we were second get out. And Argentina did their job and righted the ship and topped their group. Would have probably much preferred to play Poland, but hey, we'll take Argentina. Well, we'll take the 16. That's only the second time we've ever made it. So
exceeded expectations. We looked at this squad.
Considering how we got there through the qualifying series, how difficult it was.
By the skin of our teeth, we didn't get the automatic qualification. So 4 teams in Asia automatically qualify. We did it the hard way. We finished 3rd, which meant we had to beat the Emirates. We got through them.
Yep.
We got Peru. No one gave us a chance against Peru. Andrew Redmayne with the great wiggle, that obscene save last year to get us through to Qatar, and then took over what a lot of pundits were calling the worst Australian soccer team that's ever been to a World Cup, or at least in the recent 5.
I think that's purely name value, though.
Well, but if you look at the clubs that our
we've
guys
got
are
a
at
heavy
in this,
like Scottish
essentially
league, so.
half of them at Hearts, a few at Celtic, a lot of A-League players, and then
But doesn't mean they're bad.
scattered
Though.
around.
I think
No, of course not.
that's what I'm
Of
saying.
course
It's name value. You don't have your Tim Gales or your Harry Cools and that are playing in the EPL.
Well, exactly. When we went over with Kuhl, Viduka, a young Cahill, Schwarzer in his prime, Lucas Neal, it probably didn't beckon that kind of respect on name value. Monks, thanks very much bringing up the squad there. You know, the likes, these are the big clubs around the world that our blokes are at.
Melbourne City.
Matt Ryan at Copenhagen, a few of them at Hearts in Atkinson
Matt
and
Ryan's
Rolls.
played in the EPL.
He has,
moved
but I'm
recently.
looking at the current clubs here. We've got a few at Melbourne City. We've got a few Central Coast Mariners. We've got Mitchell Duke, of father of Tunisia fame, at Feige Leipzig. Okay, club there. So he sounds like an Australian. That's a pretty terrible Scottish accent, but he's sort of Scottish. We'll claim him. He's been absolutely dominant there as a central defender. Jackson Irvine, he's in Bundesliga 2 at FC St. Pauli. It's you look at these clubs and you think it's not like the Danes, for example, where just about everyone was at a big English club. Simon Carr at Milan, Kasper Schmeichel at Nice, a few of them scattered around La Liga. Ericsson, of course, at United, the 10th ranked club in the world. Christensen, Cornelius, they're all really good players. Hjosberg, don't know how to say it, he's at Spurs. And look, they probably did dominate the possession to their credit, but you got to put one past the keeper, and that Matthew Leckie goal.
Oh, great brilliance.
My
Single
word.
inside out.
My word. He goes to the left. He goes to the right. Matthew Leckie's fucking all right. Rhymed right with right, but anyways.
That's all right.
Look, we're out of the group stage. Not many people saw us going past Denmark. The poor Danes, this is really underwhelming for their World Cup. Ranked 10th in the world to finish last in that group. Definitely underwhelming, and it's kind of been a bit of a running theme in this World Cup is that a lot of big teams or teams that had high expectations have kind of underperformed, haven't they?
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Let's go back to Group A. We'll run quickly through the other
top
group.
to bottom of the group.
Yeah, the other groups. Netherlands and Senegal through there. No sort of surprises with the Dutch playing as well as they have. Cody Gakpo. It's with a G, but I think it's Gakpo. He's been absolutely sensational. He scored in all 3 games. He's a 23-year-old out of PSV Eindhoven as opposed to PSG, Paris Saint-Germain. United looking at him. Apparently, they were looking at him in the Anthony deal, Anthony No H, and they went Anthony, but they may also have their eyes on him. From what I've seen as a United fan, would love to get a little bit of Cody Gakpo action. They play really defensive. They play really attacking, I should say, because their back 3 are so good in Ake, Virgil van Dijk, and De Ligt. And they can play that 3-4-3 and bring the likes of Memphis to play off the bench. They could go far in this one. Senegal had the big injury news at the start of the tournament that they would have no Sadio Mane. But they get through. Ecuador and Qatar out. The Qataris, it's almost like they shouldn't be here, some might say. Get 0 points. If I'm dead next week, you boys will know why.
They scored 1 goal, though. So.
Yeah, good on them. They scored 0 points.
Yes.
4 less. No, 6 less. Sorry, excuse me. 6 less than these mighty boys in gold and green. Ecuador, quite good, but they just miss out. Enner Valencia, he's got the most goals ever for Valencia, also a club in Spain. He's got the most goals ever for Ecuador and has scored at multiple World Cups. The Qataris go, we were kind of shitting a little bit on the whole situation around beers and fake fans and the rest of it. Most of the tournament's gone to plan so far, hasn't it?
Yeah. The soccer's been great, which is what we wanted. So,
and it's been upsets galore. That keeps you intrigued.
Yes.
There's been goals as well. Not a whole lot of nil. There's been a couple nil draws, but mostly, a fair bit of scoring going on. Speaking of scoring, England they top Group B. They've put 9 in the back of the net. 6 of them coming against Iran. How about this? England has 9 goals. How many would you think Harry Kane would have?
Some, but I know the answer is 0.
Harry Kane has 0, but he's been good. He's been setting up his teammates, and it's then. You don't want to pump up the English tyres, but a team that can bring Jack Grealish off the pine looks pretty good to me, and the likes of Raheem Sterling as well.
We're not starting the coming home chat down here at all.
It's coming down under. That's the chat that I've heard. This is home.
It's coming here.
This is home. The weather's nice. The chat is good at times, perhaps. The chants are no good.
No.
Aussie, oi, oi, oi. And the Americans, they go through Christian Pulisic. I said that like a Queenslander.
Yeah.
He's been leading them. Iran miss out, and Wales in their first World Cup in 60 odd years.
Did he injure his cock in that game?
I don't know.
I think that because he went off after he scored the goal and after about 30 minutes. But I think they were saying it was
search history is going to be fire here.
Yes.
Chest, anal beads, Pulisic, cock.
Yeah,
please.
I think it was abdominal, but I think that some of the US media were saying, it was more to his nether regions that he took a hit, and he was in hospital straight after the match. So
poor fella. That's big blow as well if he can't.
He said, though, he should be right and he'll be back out there. He was happy for the boys that got the win without him.
Good man.
Because, he's a star, really a big star in that team.
Massive. Chelsea player. I think he's their skipper. Probably the best American player.
Just go injury update,
getting around.
What you need.
I'll get there.
Yes. Otherwise, Wales gone and Iran gone as well.
Bale looked a little bit old in this one. He couldn't do.
Well, he is
heaps.
a little bit old. I think is the problem. It comes around. It happens to us, the best of us. Any news there, James?
He said he did not get hit in the balls. Was sent to hospital. Abdominal injury.
Yeah. Day by
Take
day.
it day by day.
How was day by day?
Yeah.
I think that abdominal injury was cover. I'm pretty sure it was cock. I'll start that rumor here.
Here, you heard it here on the.
Hey, giving you a cock for country, that's worth doing. So, especially in a World Cup.
Right. How does this sound? I didn't get hit in the balls. I'm right. It was very painful, and that bone is there for a reason to protect you.
The pubic bone.
Sure, the pubic bone.
Funny. Group C, the evil Argentinians.
Yes, public enemy number one comes Sunday morning our time.
Yes, definitely.
They had a big slip up in their first game against Saudi Arabia. The boys, the Socceroos, they'll be believing after watching that one. I'm sure that game is getting absolutely rinsed by Graham Arnold and the boys.
Did stay the ship, of course, against Mexico.
Of course, and Poland. Mexico actually missing out on the round of 16 for the first time since 94 or something. Mexico love making the round of 16, obviously not this World Cup, and then not going any further. I think there's been like 4 or 5 consecutive World Cups where they've made the round of 16 and haven't progressed further. So 130 million Mexican hearts broken, essentially.
Yeah, well, they only missed out by a goal difference of...
Yes, and that was fire the other morning. So Argentina was playing Poland. They beat Poland. Poland wasn't sure what their fate would be. And then they realised that the Saudis had scored in 90 minutes plus 5.
Yep.
And you saw them all get up and about, and yes, we've been saved.
They did a job for us.
By the Saudis. Lewandowski and the like are pretty happy to be getting out of that group, which has been one of the tighter ones so far. What do we think of Argentina? They're going to be scary. They're ranked 3 in the world, I believe, at the moment.
FIFA favourites? FIFA soccer.
Oh, the simulation.
Favourites.
Life is a simulation.
That hasn't been wrong in like 2 decades. So.
Yes. They didn't account for the might of fucking Harry Suter chopping Lionel Messi.
Yes. Yeah.
Lionel, spoken like a true Australian.
Lionel. It'd be interesting because, the brand of football the Australians play is heavily pressure, heavily defence, in your face a little bit.
Counter.
So whether the Argentinians... are happy with that kind of style, because there's definitely that Tunisia game. The Tunisia hated it. They were getting real frustrated and ended up getting 4 yellow cards, I think, trying to assert some of their own dominance back. Whether Argentina, struggles with that. My thing is probably not because they're Argentina. They've got arguably the GOAT of the last 2 decades. In that conversation, of course, in Lionel Messi, and then the team's stacked with talent across the board. So, yeah, it's going to be a really, really tough ask for the Australian squad, but miracles happen.
The bookies in regular time are giving $14,
and that's still an Australian bookie.
And that's an Australian bookie. So if you go international, you might get even more.
Yes,
for Australia to go through. Currently, from our unofficial sponsors at Sportsbet, please reply to my emails. Argentina, $1.16. The draw in regulation at 7s. Yeah. Stranger things have happened, boys. Stranger things have happened.
Well, you look at against Denmark. We had 31% of the ball.
Yep.
You just got to put really well.
You just got to put one in. You just got to put one in on the counter.
I mean, we've scored as many points as they have in the World Cup. So
that is true. Yeah. 2 wins, 1 loss. Yep. What about the goals? We've scored 2. They've scored 5. No, we scored 3. Sorry, we did score that early one against France. How good was the morale in the first 15 minutes of the France game? I was like, oh, well, yeah, just won the Rugby League World Cup. Yeah, it was a bit disappointing in the cricket, but we fucking rule at sport. Like, France are nobodies, $1.4 billion. And then I was like, oh, that's why.
Yeah, yes.
Quickly back to France, our thoughts. We're scanning past Group D here. No Benzema, no Pogba, no... I think Varane hasn't been playing. They're still pretty fucking dangerous.
Yeah, and maybe that's one of the reasons they played a reserve squad in their last game. Get some guys some game time and give them, get some of those nerves of the World Cup out of the system, because they might be asked to do a job come the 16, and will work their way through potentially the final, because I think they're still up there. I think Brazil's probably heavy favourites.
Yeah, on the other side,
yeah, I think then you've got probably France and Argentina as the next lot, and then maybe England enters that conversation with how they've been playing. So
lol,
exactly. I think they'll check somewhere. That's very English of them.
It's coming home. We're coming home in the quarters.
Yeah, I know.
England has the most expensive squad, period?
Yes.
Interesting, eh? Interesting.
It makes sense.
Yeah, EPL.
EPL players.
Yeah. We spoke about it in the preview that we did a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
The EPL has 20% of the players in this World Cup. We'll talk about Brazil in a sec. Normally, back in the day, the Brazilian team was full of guys playing in La Liga, Serie A, and maybe a couple in the EPL. Very EPL dominant now, that Brazilian side.
Well, maybe it goes to some of the more bigger names of private ownership in the EPL, and some of the money, the cash.
Money talks, baby.
Yeah.
Money talks. Dirty cash, I want you. Dirty cash. I need you more. All right, Group E, boys. Let's go to the other side of the draw. Japan, the Blue Samurai, have absolutely stunned Spain and Germany. How about it? And then they tripped up against Costa Rica. They still go through in first. But the big news out of this one, Germany miss out for the second time in a row. Not getting out of the group stage. I believe 2018 they didn't get out of the group either. You look at this group before the World Cup start, you're like, Spain and Germany should go through. Yeah. I put in my soccer group chat, I'm going to screenshot it and put it on the internet. No, I'm just going to talk about it and you can believe it. I said Japan could cause some headaches here.
Yeah.
I said Japan could cause some headaches. They're the best team on paper, they're the best team in Asia.
Oh, definitely. And we've all seen the struggles we've had trying to qualify against them. So
there in Japan, we haven't beaten them for a long time.
Yeah, they're definitely a good squad. I think Germany's probably the interesting one. Back-to-back World Cups out in the group stages. Since they won it, they haven't made 16?
Yeah, I don't think they've got out since they've won it, and they've won like one game.
Yeah. So
it's maybe 2, including this World Cup.
Cup hangover, maybe?
Yeah, maybe the Super Bowl hangover.
I think the Brazilians are probably still dirty. They haven't been able to have
7-1 at home.
Exactly, they haven't had to get any revenge at all. Because maybe that's what Germany's doing. They're like, you're not going to be able to get that revenge against us anytime soon.
Germany's a weird one as well, because often we talk about teams and their players all being at different clubs, like a France, for example. Not many of them play together. Yeah. Half of Germany plays together at Bayern, A couple of them are Borussia Dortmund.
Is that the problem? Because they dominate that league and don't really
And
have
they're not-
that
yeah,
competition.
well, you look-
outside of Champions League.
You look at the mighty team that's going to win this whole
Yeah,
World Cup in the Socceroos and how much we used to struggle when we were in Oceania because we go smack up American Samoa 31-0. Thanks for coming. I was actually asking Sarah the other day. I was like, just testing her soccer trivia knowledge.
yeah.
Obviously not expecting a whole lot. Poor thing. And I said, do you know who has the most goals ever in an international game of soccer? She said, maybe Brazil. I said, it's the colours are similar. The colours are similar. She said, no, it's not Australia. I said, yeah, it's Australia. She said, how many? I said, you guessed. She said, 10? I was like, keep going, keep going. Yeah, we went to American Samoa and smacked them up 31. That is just bullying.
Yeah.
That's just bullying. But in those days, we struggled because the opposition was no good. And maybe that's what's happening with this German side, where half of them played together at Bayern and have won the whole thing 11 times in a row.
Exactly. They've absolutely dominated.
And they're so used to winning, and then they come to World Cup and
don't really have, haven't been playing against top tier competition regularly.
and they drop the ball against Japan.
Yes, yeah. And they drew with Spain as well. Like they've had a pretty average tournament.
That was exciting this morning as well. So that was this really could have gone down to
Costa Rica
results.
were leading that game 2-1 after 70 and would have potentially knocked Spain out. But of course, Germany did the good job and come back and won.
Yeah, exactly. They would have had to win Costa Rica, and Spain putting 7 on Costa Rica in that first game paid dividends. Yeah. Much like in the Cricket World Cup when we got smacked up by New Zealand, it always made it hard because of the net run.
But those 85th and 89th winners there by the German squad killed off Costa Rica, and so Japan and Spain will go through. And I think the Spanish team will be quite happy that they've made it through into the next round.
Young Spanish team, I think they could be quite surprising. Did you see Kai Havertz of Chelsea fame? He scored a brace in this one. He got the man of the match and had obviously just found out that they wouldn't be progressing. I've never seen such a dejected face on someone receiving a man of the match award than on poor Kai Havertz.
Yeah. What's it worth if you, your tournament's over? Like it's
horrible.
Yeah.
Doesn't
matter how well you played, you're gone. Unfortunately.
Any tidbits there from I can see you got the German history up there for a bit.
No, not really.
That period there through 2014 looks really dominant. I think they got it.
They was
2013
when they won the World Cup. That team was loaded.
That was 2014.
That was like Neuer in his prime, Hummels, Lahm, Muller in his prime. Like a young Cruz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Putting a team like Brazil to the sword in a final.
Like absolutely pumping them in front of their own fans.
Yeah. Like it's unreal. Have
you got that? Yeah. Can you give us that 11 from 2014 that won it? How many did I get? Neuer, Lahm captain, Boateng, Hummels, Havertz. I didn't say that right. Kramer. Bastian Schweinsteiger, Cruz, Muller, Miroslav Klose of most goals in World Cup fame, and a sort of in his prime Mesut Ozil.
Yeah.
Yeah, smacked up Brazil 7-1 and then went on to beat Lionel Messi's Argentina in the final. It's 8 years ago.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that long ago.
What group are we up to? F?
G? F. Belgium, bye. NSYNC.
This is a big one. Morocco, man.
Can you bring up Morocco's team? Look at this on paper. There's a lot of guys at big clubs. Not a whole heap of names that we might be familiar with, but if you go through the clubs, you're like, oh, yeah, it kind of makes sense that these guys would be so good. So, scroll down here.
Yeah, well, while you do that, the Canadians, their first World Cup in a long time.
86, I think.
Yeah, got hammered, unfortunately. Belgium, of course, as mentioned, lost, and Croatia was the other one that went through. And this one, they drew with Belgium to get cement themselves as going through this morning.
How's some of these clubs that the Moroccans are at? Hakimi, PSG, Mazraoui, Munich. There's a bloke at Chelsea. That's Ziyech. There's blokes at Toulouse in France. There's a few blokes scattered around around La Liga. A few blokes scattered around the EPL. only 3 of them play out of Morocco itself.
Yeah.
How big's Morocco as a country?
Big, like 30 million, I'm going to say.
It's not bad.
King of populations, what are we going, unders, overs?
Well, they got a lot of European football in that squad, so
Yeah.
not unsurprising considering where it is. But yeah, it's. Did you get a pop there?
Unders, overs, 30s, what are you going?
Oh, you're the geography dude. Yeah, if you say 30, I'd say it's probably pretty close.
36.7.
Ooh, overs.
Oh, well.
Overs.
You had a 3 in it, so close enough.
Pretty close. I'm glad, out of there's 7 numbers, 8 numbers there. If we get 1 3, we're okay.
As long as there's a 3 in it.
So Belgium, a lot of chat around them last World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
They're still ranked number 2 in the world, probably aging a touch from where they were. But you look at
Well,
this.
they did the same thing last. They made it through the.
They made their semis, I think,
didn't they?
or the quarters. Yeah, they made the semis of the Euros. I know that because little Italian team beat them. Yeah. Or maybe it was the quarters of the Euros. Can you chase up Belgium 2018?
Well, their best result was
World Cup?
2018, and they finished third quarter.
Semis. So I think that's their window. We talk about windows. I think that's that done. And we got ages here. Courtois 30. He should go around again. But then,
that's 34.
but Oliver Eld, he's 33, so he's probably gone. Vertonghen's 35. He's probably gone. Witzel's 33.
Probably gone.
KDB, he'll go again. He's 31. Hazard probably go again. He's 31. Who else we got? How old's Lukaku? Lukaku's 29. He'll go up. So I don't know. I think it's more probably at the back where they're going to have to completely change the back four and a bit of that midfield. But the likes of Hazard, Lukaku, De Bruyne, they'll go again. But
I heard some stuff.
maybe missing their window.
Might have been a little bit unders for this.
He barely played.
And well, I think he played a bit in this Croatia game, but they finished a draw, and sounds like he was spraying things left, right, and centre. Unfortunately. Anyway, Group G.
Group G. So we're
Brazil
now
and
into. So
Switzerland?
it is Friday night, the time that we are recording. So these are the 2 unresolved groups.
Yes.
Group
Brazil
G
confirmed
and
advancing.
Group H. Yes. So Brazil are through. Switzerland, Cameroon. I managed to get both of these teams in my office sweepstakes, and look, it could have been worse. It could have got Qatar, and it would have really been dirty. So Brazil are confirmed through. Do they do a France and play their Bs?
I think they will.
They've got to play Cameroon, so maybe they'll rest up, and then a big game between Serbia and Switzerland, and then Cameroon will think, well, if Brazil does play their Bs, maybe we can sneak in. Cameroon have always have one of the funnest kits in the World Cup, the green, red, and yellow. You love to see it. Kind of group of death-ish in terms of obviously Brazil's always getting out of this group, but then Switzerland, Cameroon, Serbia, none of them are really bad.
Yeah, they're all kind of in the same sort of spot as well.
Well, Serbia did really well in the qualifying. I think they finished ahead of France in their group. I think. Yeah, well, don't fact check that.
They did well. Let's go.
They finished first.
They did well.
They finished first in their
finished
qualifying.
first.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yes, I think you've outlined it there.
So there's 1,000 results that can go here.
true.
Yeah.
So Brazil currently on 6,
Essentially,
Switzerland
you
3,
want a win
Cameroon
to go
1,
through.
Serbia 1. Cameroon and Serbia pretty much must wins. Switzerland with their goal difference, if they can get a draw against Serbia,
Yeah, but Cameroon wins.
but
by
then
2.
they need Cameroon to beat Brazil handedly. You think, as it stands, Switzerland most likely to get out of this one.
Having a win definitely in their favour.
Do you guys catch much of that 3-3 draw between Cameroon and Serbia? One of the games of the World Cup so far, just goals left, right and centre. Both teams just playing all-out attack. Bit of fun.
Well, 5 goals in 20 minutes there. So
Yeah, it was back and forth. It was quite wild.
good.
Brazil, they've won 2-0 and 1-0. They just defend. They're built, I think, to win this World Cup. We did talk about half their squad playing in the EPL, which is quite unusual
They
for
look
a
so
Brazilian team. But it's you think on this side of the draw, which seems to be maybe a little bit softer. They've got Spain is probably the bigger name on this side.
So I think the main thing for them with Argentina retaking the top is they would face Argentina if they get through the mighty Australian team in the semis.
So it swaps. It does the old swappo after that in the quarters. Is that correct?
So you're there.
No. So it's also. I'm pretty sure it's A and D, and then like A through D, and then E through H.
Yeah, so they'd be winners group G. So Brazil would be there. So yes, they would have to play Argentina in the semi-finals.
Yes.
In the semis.
Yep. No, right you are. Right you are.
But Australia's going to win. So
What, Netherlands is up there too.
maybe get an Australia-US game. Never, not happening.
Could you imagine? And don't rule out Croatia and Japan as well. It's a fun World Cup, isn't it? It's really quite fun.
Yeah, well, at this stage, you're past groups, and now you got to win to make through. So you got to.
It's knockout, baby. It's
Exactly.
knockout.
Yeah.
Let's just quickly go over Group H. Portugal are through. Ronaldo scoring a goal. Well, didn't score a goal. It went to Bruno Fernandes because it touched Ronaldo's concrete hair. I think it touched the hair.
Yeah, I think there's a picture that shows he touched his concrete hair, and with the. We're calling it concrete hair with the amount of gel he has in it, so it was probably hard enough to deflect the ball a little bit.
See, Sportsbet paid out on anytime goal scorers for Ronaldo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, good blows.
Yeah,
Reply to my emails.
Not that good. He scored 117 goals in World Cup history, so
The
he doesn't need them all.
He could share one around, but I think it's a bit dirty. He missed out on it. Anyway.
For me as a United fan, I was like, Bruno, Ronaldo, would love to see this in Manchester. A little bit more of this. Ronaldo is officially gone. Where he's going is still speculated.
Saudi Arabia, I think, is the big deal. 200.
Yuck, don't go there.
200. I think it was 200 million pounds a season.
Jesus Christ.
Which was 40 mil more than what Messi was getting at the
He's already got $1 billion.
Well, he doesn't need it.
No. Messi is well rumoured to go to Major League Soccer.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah, huge deal to go play in America.
Linked with the Saudis?
Is it Nasser or something?
Al
Nasser.
Nasser.
What was the deal? Did I have the 200 mil pounds or was it Australian dollars? Did I mix up the millions?
Maybe it's in Saudi. Starts with R.
Be careful.
No, I'm talking about the currency.
Yeah, you don't get paid in barrels of oil. Like it's gold bullion.
You get paid in the tears of real football fans.
2.5 year deal worth $308 million a year. That's Australian dollars.
$308 million a year. So I think it was £200. That sounds about right. A year.
I've seen money.
Yeah.
It's Saudi Real.
Yeah.
Real Madrid. Read between the lines.
So apparently he turned down a $5.3 million a week offer to play in Saudi Arabia's Summer League with Al Hilal.
He's just like, I'm not playing in the summer. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah.
Dude, I'll go play over there for a kebab week.
Yeah. Considering, well, I understand the reasoning. Like it would be the same if the A-League tried to throw that kind of money at someone like that. It's like, hey, it's marketability. Come and watch our league.
No, we just get Usain Bolt.
Yeah, that's also true. But it's the exact same idea. It's like you're getting worldwide media attention to your league that isn't, say, a big European league.
No.
Yeah.
And the same reason why MLS, the American League, wants to get someone like Messi across for the same reason. It's like, hey, we've got to compete with the big four on a weekly basis. If we can get one of the biggest names in soccer that can help, follow on from the World Cup, get some of those young guys keen and try to build their league. So totally understand.
There's a bit in this article where it was saying that David Beckham was reportedly trying to get him across to Inter Miami. So exactly the same as what you were saying just there.
Yeah.
Just get those big names in.
Yeah. Lots of money. Anyway, Portugal through. This is a pretty good group with Ghana, South Korea.
Yeah, again, it's much like that Brazil group where there's no real bad teams.
Yep. And Ghana have a win. Who'd they get a win over?
Against South Korea, 3-2. And this was the one where poor Son Heung-min was was teared up, and that big staunch Ghanaian coach was trying to get a selfie with him.
Conditioning coach or something.
Yeah, in good condition.
Yeah.
In good condition.
Yeah.
Rugby condition, perhaps more so than soccer. The Liver King says hi. But if you saw the photo, geez, I've been in moments like that, you know. For me, it's like losing a game of FIFA on you know, or throwing the throwing the controller.
Having your younger brother beat you at FIFA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, shout out to Nick. Once punched him after us. No, I thought it was Super Smash Brothers. Worms, actually. Kept using that concrete donkey. Shout out to Worms. Ghana, South Korea. Ghana getting a big win there, and it sets up a tasty game overnight. Ghana got knocked out by Uruguay in a penalty shootout. Ooh. I want to say in 2010, but it was like the Diego Forlan year. I feel like it was 2010. I feel like it was South Africa. So there could be a little bit of revenge is a dish best served cold in that one.
And same for the South Koreans versus Portugal.
And Portugal already through. So we're talking about Brazil resting their starters.
Well,
perhaps it's going to happen with Portugal.
I wouldn't see Ronaldo playing in this game, I don't think. I think they'd probably rest him.
I reckon he'd want to get a cheeky goal and then go have a rest.
That's probably fair. Play the first 20, see if he gets a goal.
And then get on the phone to Riyadh or Mecca or wherever the fuck he's getting 200 million.
Yeah.
Saudi burgers.
But what we're saying, win and you're in.
You're in.
That's the main part here.
For those other teams in terms of Ghana and Uruguay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You were right. Quarterfinals 2010.
Yeah.
Uruguay beats Ghana. It was
on pens.
On pens. So 1-1 draw in regulation, and then on pens 4-2.
Ghana were wearing these real fun like red and yellow away kit. Yeah. It looked bad, but it looked good. Kind of like one of those ones. Yeah.
So bad it's good.
Indeed. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be overnight. Monks, if you wouldn't mind scrolling down, let's have a look at these round of 16 games. So we've got a lot of them are already confirmed. Yep. Netherlands go up against the USA. We spoke at the top of this segment about this Netherlands team. They play 3-4-3. They've got one of the best back threes, I think, in the world. Do they have the ability up front? We spoke about Cody Gakpo, but does he have the supporting cast to go deep? USA, they could also, pull off a little bit of an upset in that one. I think for knockout football, it changes the mindset as well. You go a little bit more defensive.
Well, that I think is what plays in the United States' hand a bit. If they can get a goal early, they will exactly. They will defend the house.
Never works for me on FIFA.
Which against the Netherlands, like as you just mentioned, who haven't been as prevalent up front.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the game plan. We could go out, see if we get a goal, and then defend the house down. We'll see.
Australia probably put 5 or 6 on Argentina. Yeah, that's pretty easy.
Sorted.
Put your house on us at 14-1.
Japan, Croatia is a pretty good close game.
Well, Croatia would be looking at these guys and going, geez, they just beat Germany and they just beat Spain. They'd probably be watching that Costa Rica game and thinking, what do the Costa Ricans do to get past this Japanese outfit? Said earlier, best team in Asia, have been for a long time. Yep. Have never gone, I don't think they've ever gone past the quarterfinals. I think they've made the quarterfinals. Just you go Japan.
Click on Japan there. Just click on it.
Japan, best result, World Cup, something along those lines.
Oh, is that going to open there?
And then the Croatians, obviously, runners up.
World Cup, best result, round of 16. And they've done that 4 times.
4 times. So that's a lot like Mexico, where they're often good at getting out of the group. Going past the round of 16 tends to be
good opportunity for them to get their best result ever here against Croatia.
It's interesting that Croatia were in the same group as Belgium. I think they're kind of a similar team in that they've had this window. Obviously, they went close in 2018, becoming runners up with a country their size, quite small.
Oh yes,
is outstanding, but also an aging team. Modric is getting older. It's maybe his last World Cup. Can we get an age on Modric and the rest of this aging Croatian team, if you wouldn't mind? It was Group E. It
doesn't have it.
No. It's Group F. Group F. One off.
Yes, Belgium was there.
Okay, so Modric is 37. That's
he's done.
So he's done, and then going through it, Perisic is 33, so he'll be close to done. Lovren is 33, he'll be close to done. Brozovic is 30. He probably goes again. But it's a changing of the guard. Kovacic is 28. He'll go again. So again, windows. You talk about it.
Yeah.
Croatia, they went so close in 2018 that they have to do it now, or it's going to be a bit of a rebuild. You'd think.
Yep. Yeah, and they'll probably play Brazil, you'd think.
Yes.
If you go, then we've got England and Senegal, and then France and Poland, which is kind of maybe angling towards a bit of a tasty matchup there of England and France. Maybe don't count our chickens too early. Senegal's been
the 100 Years War.
Yeah, Senegal's been good. I don't.
Bit of history chat.
Yes. I think that war ended up being longer than.
I think it was 114.
Yes.
100 Years War.
Yeah. Right.
And France probably does the job against Poland.
You'd imagine England and France should handedly take care of those teams. You can never rule out Poland, I suppose, with Lewandowski.
And Senegal's been good.
They haven't been bad, but on paper, England and France should win that, which would line up a tasty
Senegal
quarterfinal there on the 10th of December.
Currently the only African team through? Or no?
Yep. Morocco.
Morocco,
yeah. So Morocco plays Spain.
And that, I think,
again, we're talking to England, France, Morocco, Spain. we're talking across the ditch. We're talking arch old enemies. Bit of history chat here on the Esky. How good?
Yeah. And
100 years. How long did the 100 Years War last?
Joan of Arc says hi. 116 years.
I was close, 114.
This Morocco-Spain game is pretty good because I think the teams are very similar. I think Spain's young. Both young.
Both young.
Maybe some more European talent in the Morocco side. But I think overall, I think it's probably...
Old statement.
Well, I mean, what we were talking about before, where they were playing clubs, I think they're very similar, so I'm getting at. They're all have that kind of same, very young guy spread across Europe. And yeah, I'm not sure 100% whether one will have slightly more European teams than the other, but I assume they're both heavily in Europe at the moment.
I'll tell you where Spain is, all in Europe, and a bit. There's actually a fair few Spanish players playing in England at the moment. Interesting. I think Spain, we talk about windows. I think 2022, when these
opening?
I think... no, 2026. It's 2022 now.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the next.
Yes,
World Cup.
opening here, and
Yeah, I think they'll be
set their prime.
Really be peaking then.
Agree. And then H is probably Portugal.
Yeah, so Portugal should win Group H, and they should get runners up of G, which is most likely going to be Switzerland. And then winners of G should be Brazil,
and they'll get.
It could be a mixed bag.
Could be anyone.
Yeah, it could be Ghana, could be South Korea, could be Uruguay.
Should think they win.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
It happens quick as well. That's probably my only criticism. It happens so quick.
I think
4 games a night.
Yeah, but I think that's also the criticism for us is it's 4 games overnight. Yeah. So unless if you wanted to watch all 4 games, like if it was during the day, like it'd be a whole day's worth of soccer, and you're watching it every day. Yeah. The problem for us is it's overnight, so you might watch a game if you're lucky, and then you just get the results. So that's probably why it's going so quick.
Well, and they also canned their afternoon games now as well. So we did have the 9 p.m. and midnight games, which were the afternoon games over there. So now in our time slots, it's all 2 a.m., 6 a.m.
Yeah.
6 a.m. 6 a.m. Very doable. Very doable.
The 2 a.m.s is
2 a.m. on a school night.
Yeah.
If you got to get up and pack your lunch and pack your bag and go to school, it's quite difficult.
It is.
But it's good to see most. Now most major capitals will have a outdoor viewing session for it, and
pubs are allowed to stay open. Yes. I think last night there was pubs open till 5 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Put that lockout law up your Mike bed, Casino Mike.
Yes,
politics infiltrating the Esky.
Soccer's here. Soccer's here. Before we jump into the NFL, do you want to get us a cricket score? Because they should have finished for today. Where did the Aussies get to?
Yeah, any baseball? I think Warner made 180 is what I heard.
Did you?
No.
In an hour? In an hour is pretty impressive.
We once
if they finished with 50 and they only lost the 1 in that hour, I'd be happy.
Quick story time. We once had to drive from Narooma up to a New
25 for 1, I think that says, doesn't it, Jimmy?
29. Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
It's not quite 180. Once had to drive up from the south coast of Narooma to a New Year's test. It's about a 4-hour drive.
Yep.
Bit of traffic. We thought we'd left early enough. I think we left 5 o'clock in the morning. to try and get there for the start of play. Mm-hmm. I think we were about 80 minutes late. And Warner is in the 90s. and we're like, we got to get in there. We got to get in there. The Reverend, the Bull, he can score quickly when he wants to. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to have a quick check of England-Pakistan while you're there? You're gonna maybe put the game on and do you have a result there just quickly?
Yep.
So Pakistan were cruising along pretty well when we last checked. Let's see how they're going over there on the Rawalpindi Highway. Tell you what, state governments, if you need a highway done, call Rawalpindi.
Yes. Yep.
0 for 104.
Oh, yeah. Both got 50s.
Roads. Absolute roads. Imam ul Haq.
Well, look, it's a 5-lane highway.
Shafiq. So. 5 lanes. That's right. Please indicate if turning.
All right. I guess that means we've got to go to some American sports, and we'll kick off with the NFL, James.
We do love our American sports. We like a little bit of...
Oh, he broke his ankles!
Oh, yes. And we had the kickoff of Week 13 today with Buffalo getting the win over New England, 24-10. The Bills have been very good. They did lose Von Miller last week. He goes on to IR. He's got an MCL injury. They think...
Should be back.
They think he should be
Playoffs.
back. They thought Miller thought it'd be give him say 8 to 11 days, see where the swelling's at, and then reassess. But it looks like the Bills are going, all right, let's just shut you down, get you healthy. You've got 4 weeks. That's the end of the season essentially, week 17, and he could potentially get back for their playoff run. Otherwise, Allen was good. James Cook has been getting involved across the board. They very much love this 4 wide and 1 run back, and that fits very well with what James Cook did, which is I think what we said at the season preview is like it fits really well for what they want to do to score points.
Yep, drafted him over Damian Pierce in my team. Although Damian Pierce has gone a bit quiet.
Yes, for the last couple of weeks.
We'll talk about them in a sec.
Yes. Stefan Diggs was good. And now there's the chat that OBJ should be visiting tomorrow for Buffalo. And Von Miller, again, on the Von cast, was saying that the goal is to not let him leave the building. Which would be ridiculous to get him on that team as well. He was medically cleared last week. Had a little bit of a run-in on a plane with sleeping and not putting his seatbelt on. Got escorted off the plane, and the plane had to go back to the gate or something like that. I think it's really a nothing story. There's no TMZ footage, so that to me makes it feel like it was a nothing story, and they probably overreacted a little bit. And it's not to say that it was a long flight, so potentially he wanted to sleep through the flight, and maybe he had some sleep pills or something like that. That's why it was a bit uncommunicative, but who knows? If
being in a deep sleep on a flight is international news, put me on the front of TMZ because I have done that before.
Yes, yeah, and I think I don't know why it was made such a big story when it kind of seems like nothing.
He didn't really do anything, did he?
Yeah, he didn't. But it kind of the timing of it, considering he's now doing all these visits for signing, like he will sign probably over the weekend. Cowboys and Giants were the other two. So he's got visits lined up with them over the weekend as well.
Where do we see him going?
I'd say Buffalo Cowboys probably favourites.
Apparently Jerry Jones is big on trying to get OBJ over there,
and
then the return to New York has kind of a nice ring to it.
Yeah,
but is he thinking this year?
If he wants to win again, like you get another ring to join his wing. Oh my god!
So a few rings in the wing of the OBJ mansion.
My mouth doesn't work properly, so it's hard to say some words.
What did you fuck up before? That was hilarious.
Test and chest.
Yeah. Chest. That's how we got into Magnus Carlsen anal beads.
Yeah. So I think he's winning team. So Buffalo and Cowboys probably make the most sense.
Yep.
And Cowboys now, and we'll get to them in a second, with the way they're playing defense at the moment, and Dak's just been solid. They probably could do with a Murray Cooper replacement at this point.
Yeah. And C.D. Lamb hasn't really been lights out. They've been pounding the rock as well.
Gallup's been good. And I think you had OBJ to create that trio. It really would help them. So be interesting. But that's the chat. And I think if I was OBJ, it's probably Bills and Cowboys preference, with the way the Giants kind of being pretenders, having lost 2 straight and kind of falling down in a very hot division at the moment as well.
How about everyone in the NFC East still over 500?
Yeah, well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Commanders are like
going on.
a 3-win streak, so we'll talk about it in a minute. Pats have steadied the ship a little bit for their side, but they don't look like a playoff team. They've been playing good defense.
Yep.
I think the big quote from today was who's their offensive coordinator? Dude was the Lions coach, Matt Patricia.
Yep.
He's calling plays at the moment, and Mac Jones are getting stuck into him about, throw the fucking ball. Fucking run game sucks. Like they caught it on camera. That was what he was just like yelling.
But it's interesting because their running game's not that bad. Ramondre Stevenson's been really good.
I think the Bills kind of took it away from him in this one. So, hey, Buffalo gets a good win. They keep rolling. Sunday games.
Early window.
We get Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Atlanta Falcons to kick off. Pittsburgh a little bit banged up for Harris. He was a bit nicked up. I think he missed the second half of the game last week.
Who's their backup? Benny Snell?
Snell and Jalen Waddle. Waddle or Ward?
Jalen Waddle is a receiver for the Dolphins who's really good.
Yeah, no, not that. It starts with a W. And I'm pretty sure he must find out who the running backs are. I think
Benny Snell's the guy that's going to get the main work. Will it not be? Snell?
I think
Snell might be fast in German as well. Don't know.
Do you have a death chart there, James? No. Either way, Pickett has been looking better. He's kind of knocking off some of that rookie rust. Their defense, I think, has probably been the difference with TJ Watt coming back and getting healthy as well. Falcons side,
Jalen Warren.
It's close.
JW. I was
definitely not Jalen Waddle.
I said Waddle, and I was like, no, he's a.
It's not the
Vernon
duck.
or something.
It's
like
not the duck.
No, it's not the duck. So yeah, I think Harris should be good to go, but he's been on and off practice. Patterson, they're increasing his workload, so he might get more workload here against the Falcons to help out Jimmy's fantasy football team.
That said, Tyler Algier hasn't been bad.
Yeah, it hasn't been bad. They run a heap of the ball.
Are they still most run heavy?
I think so.
I think they're the most
They
run
lost
heavy.
Kyle Pitts a week or so as well to IR.
Who's been a bit disappointing this year, poor Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, well, new offensive philosophy, I think, was the big hurt there.
Yeah.
And, new quarterback. They're a run-heavy team, so bit unfortunate there. And his season's done anyway.
Bears are the most run heavy.
Falcons 2.
It's
It's been them sort of vying for that number one
run
heavy title.
I guess the Fields resurgence the last month is kind of one of the reasons why they're that high. The Falcons keep moving. That division's still very close. Got to keep winning to stay in the hunt there. I'm feeling a Pittsburgh upset. I think the Falcons end up being the favourites in this one, but I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers will get the win.
Probably more implications for the Falcons. You don't think that the Steelers get out of that pretty strong AFC North with the Ravens and the Bengals?
Yeah.
They're 3 games back, I think.
Yeah. So who knows? But the way the NFL's been this year, geez, I don't want to tip anything because it's been difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Remind me to do my tips. I need to do my tips.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm going to do my tips for like 5 weeks ago.
Hey, 2-horse race. Let's go.
Yeah. I'm thinking I'm in the top 150 at the moment. So
Really? That's impressive.
yeah, keeping it up there. Keep it going. Green Bay, Chicago. We got to talk about Chicago ownership. Let's talk Aaron
Rodgers. He owns him. It's confirmed, dude. He's having a bad year, but he owns him.
Well, confirmed injured thumb since week 5, which is interesting because I think you're meant to disclose injuries. So if Green Bay's been hiding injuries,
How does that serve them? Because obviously his accuracy's been down. We've spoken about that. We're not seeing the same Aaron Rodgers. Wouldn't you like a little excuse like my thumb's banged up?
Exactly. If it's taped up and he's, they've admitted he's probably going to need surgery postseason to deal with it. Did leave this game, last week's game, and then Love came in and looked pretty good.
He looked really good.
Yeah, through slinging the rock around a little bit.
See the photo after the game? Love hurts.
Yes.
It does.
Yeah. Christian Watson has been good as well.
Great on my bench in fantasy.
Yes.
I'm sure he's aware.
Yeah, definitely. So Rogers thought it was he punctured his lung and then he's struggling to breathe, so that's why he went off. But I think it's just a rib injury. He's been day-to-day. He's planning to play in this one.
You blokes ever heard a rib before playing contact sport?
Yeah, I cracked a rib.
Horrible
definitely.
feeling. And especially like any position, but quarterback, that rotation, that torque, a lot of it has to come through your thoracic spine.
Well, also, once you've cracked a rib, you don't want to get hit there again.
Oh, God, no.
Potentially, then breaking it and puncturing your lung, as mentioned here. So, cracked ribs suck. So, not unsurprising. This, probably a big game for Rogers. Lose this, Packers out. They probably turn it over to Love to see what he's got.
For the season, yes. He's still got that big money year next year. I know you said that they could try and offload that, trade him, etc.
Well, the retirement chat. So I don't think that. I'm thinking more retirement because if he hadn't returned to the game, some people were thinking, if he's punctured a lung, that season done,
which he didn't.
His
lung came back okay.
Yeah, we caveat there, but that was a potentially season-ending injury, and at that point, is that also kicking off the retirement chat? Are we in that window? He's been and ahhing year on year. One of the reasons Adams decided to move on because he, wanted some certainty at the quarterback position.
How's that going for him?
Yeah.
Well, actually, he's been really good.
He's been good, yeah. Plus fuckloads of money. But then there's also the full rebuild chat as well. If he retires, there's Cobb, Aaron Jones. I'm trying to think of who else is in 33.
Jones has to stay. He's so good.
He is, but he's old. So that's
how old's Aaron Jones?
I think he's early 30s. I think Cobb's early 30s. Who else do they have in their 30s? There's about 8 guys
on the offensive side of the ball.
Oh, just in general on the Packers team that are in their 33-ish kind of range.
Because the defense is quite young. Bakhtiari's maybe getting on.
Aaron Jones is 28.
Slightly. Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Aaron Jones. It's birthday today.
Hey! Happy birthday, Aaron.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
He's good as, dude.
I think so. I think their biggest mistake was probably drafting AJ Dillon and then trying to got rid of Jamal Williams to the Lions because he's been going all right.
He's been going very good. He's a character, Jamal Williams.
Yeah. So, there is some... as with any team in the NFL, there is some age, and if you're going into the Love era, do you clean house a little bit there? So all of that storyline is probably making this game a little bit bigger than it needs to be against the Bears.
Well, it's must win.
Yeah, must win against the team you own. Justin Fields missed last week. He's back. They did lose Darnell Mooney. Darnell, Mooney, for the season. He's done. IR for him.
Injury?
Leg. They had to carry him off. So I'm assuming something leg.
He chased that
up. Confirmed the injury there. With Claypool, I think, has been in and out as well. I don't think he finished that game either. So, and they were going to play Trevor Siemian as well, and he got injured in the warm-up. So he didn't play in the game last week.
Poor fella.
They had to... Who did they go to? Fuck. They were, I can't remember. They went to a no-name quarterback to play that game, unfortunately. Of course, lost. But Fields back, where the two teams are at the moment, both doing not a lot. Do you see a potential Bears upset here at home?
Definitely. For a bloke that's watched them lose to the Lions and Commanders and teams that they really should be putting away, definitely could see it. I'm hoping as a fan that they try to keep the season alive, keep it interesting for Packers fans, cheeseheads all around the world, wherever you may be, in Wisconsin or in the Australian Capital Territory. I'm going to tell you what the bookies reckon. Betting on the Green Bay Packers has been an absolute Achilles heel for me. In fact, betting on the NFL this year has been really difficult, unless you're just backing roughies. Packers $1.53 favourites to go to Soldier Field and get the job done. I'd be leaving that alone. As a fan, I want to see it happen. I'm intrigued to see how this all unfolds. I still think that Aaron Rodgers has got another year in him. Heal up that thumb. I think if they lose this, it's Jordan Love time. Get him some experience.
Yeah, but
think about next year and go forward.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, if Jordan Love comes out and heats it up for the next 5 weeks, they're going
to have to make a decision.
Some serious conversation.
We've seen this before. This is how Aaron Rodgers essentially got his job as an understudy.
Yeah, well,
of Brett Favre.
This is how Brett Favre ended up in Minnesota. Like
this is how Tom Brady got his job. You know, Drew Bledsoe, the established guy, the 6th round pick, the 200th pick, to go out and take Drew Bledsoe's job. It is how it happens. I'd be surprised though, but stranger things have happened. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, what'd you find out, Jimmy?
Yeah, on Mooney, it's just a season-ending ankle injury. No more details.
Wishing him all the best. Probably been slightly underwhelming. He was a first-round pick, wasn't he? Yeah.
I don't think he was.
Maybe early.
He was meant to be the starting wide receiver for the Bears. I think it was more a product of where that offense is and where, say, Justin Fields is a quarterback at the moment. Kind of finding his feet. Maybe next year is where they can kind of put it all together potentially.
I need to have a scheduled wee break, about halfway through the podcast. I think Jacksonville, Detroit
is up next.
Screams that. You boys take it away.
Well,
Mooney was a 5th round pick.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he was like, he's meant to be the number 1 starting receiver, which is like, I'll give you the pass on the confusion there, Peppy.
Out of? Is it the college? Tulane.
Tulane, sorry, yeah.
Tulane.
Just some room we go around there.
Thank you. I'll see you in a second.
Jacksonville, Detroit was up next. Jags looking okay. They're looking a bit better. Lawrence has been better over the last month. He's got some weapons, of course, and probably a decent head coach, I think, has helped them. You've moved my notes on me. Aiden Hutchinson for the Lions has been very good as well from the defensive standpoint. Ends up being a little bit of a revenge game for him because he went second, of course, Walker going first in the last draft. Both teams haven't been playing defense well, high scoring. I think this one will be. Both can put up points. So, roll out your Lions and your Jags. Potentially as well, Jamison Williams will be active over the weekend. May see some game time in this, which would be his first of the season after his ACL in the championship game, SEC championship game.
Oh, you're right. Interesting.
So, flip of a coin, I think, for a winner in that one.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, interesting. I mean, like, Detroit Lions is where they, again, NFC North struggling outside of.
Well, Vikings. I think Vikings have, if they win, I think they clinch that division. They can't be beaten after this.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're 5 games ahead.
That almost makes sense.
Yeah. So if they win this week, they're actually the next game. They take on the Jets. So New York Jets taking on Minnesota Vikings. Vikings should potentially get the win with the record and where they're at compared to where the Jets are. But the Jets have turned it over to Mike White, who has dominated through 3 tutters, I think, in their last game. Had like a 70% completion percentage for my list again there. So, and really kind of boosted, Wilson and Elijah Moore, who's been targeted by Wilson. Do they have? Is this bad for Wilson? And do they have a QB problem over there where Mike White is the answer?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Like, obviously, when you're starting quarterback and you get replaced, it's never a good sign. Would this be more a product of like teams have been probably game planning for Wilson, and now White's sort of been thrown in the mix, and they've just like not necessarily he's doing anything surprising, he's just doing something a little bit different.
Yeah,
so just game planning wrong for him at the moment.
I think you've hit the nail on the head because you got to remember Mike White had that 3-game streak last year where he was white hot, pun intended, but then faded very quickly, and then they went. That's the reason they. Went back to Wilson when he was healthy. So I think, he's probably going to be all right for the next, maybe in this game and the next one. But then, like you say, defenses start figuring him out and maybe he'll take the back seat there. So, but anyway, it's great seeing Mike White cook. All the memes about, New York housewives having to hide themselves. Mike White's got that dog in him. Is the funny chat. But
yeah.
Coming up against this Minnesota Vikings team, though, Jefferson's been unreal. I think he should shit in 2K easily this year. The team's been overall really good. They're a solid football team across the board. We'll win this division easily and probably will get the job done against the Jets here.
Yeah, very much agree.
Have they named the starter? Yeah, for Jets quarterback.
White, continue.
Confirm.
Yeah, after last week's game, they're going to stick with him.
Yeah, you can't
for
drop
now.
him after last week.
No, not at all. Washington Commanders, they did a air quotes statue for Sean Taylor during the weeks.
It was
What did you boys think of this?
Well, it was wire with uniform on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was pretty poor, wasn't it?
I think so. I thought they set the wrong expectation.
Yeah.
They've come out.
It was
and
less
said,
about the player, more about the team.
yeah,
in the way
and
that
it
sort
was
of
trying to
created-
sell like current merchandise as well. It's not actual shit Sean Taylor wore. So, and I think they built it up as a statue. So everyone I think was going expecting a bronze bust, kind of statue like
Which
they've-
don't always work out well. You ever seen
also true, but
Ronaldo's one?
something that clearly looks like Sean Taylor. And yeah, it kind of looks like they've rushed something together for his anniversary of his passing and put that together.
Yeah.
And
How many years?
I feel like it's 10, but I think
Yeah.
it might be more than that, unfortunately.
2007.
Jeez,
15
years.
So it was the 15th anniversary.
Man.
Yeah, it's quite
Um,
a while ago.
Yeah, I think I saw. Not
They had a
many-
heap of people there as well, and they were just like,
was there boo?
The-
Was there?
I don't think there's any boos. I think it was more like, this is a big moment, and then like,
Disappointment.
Just
like,
deflated.
wow, that's yeah.
It kind of
Yeah.
speaks volumes to where that franchise is at the
100%.
moment, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
I think there was memes or comparisons between him and like Pat Tillman and his statue. I think that's like Arizona University. Like they made this amazing statue for him, and like it's
Pat Tillman, losing his life from friendly fire, fighting in Afghanistan.
yeah, that's it. And then Sean Taylor just gets this wireframe statue with
Yeah.
jersey and
Yeah. So I think if statue is probably the word they shouldn't have used here. And, if it was more like
Tribute.
memorial tribute that they're going to do to
what
Sean
word
Taylor.
do you use?
Yeah, I think they could have done a lot better. I think rushed for the time frame. They've gone, the 15th year anniversary is coming up. Oh, we should probably do something. What have we got lying around? It's kind of the way it feels. Anyway. On the field, they've been pretty good. They're on a 3 game win streak at the moment.
Bloody oath they've been good.
Getting back into division. They take on the Giants in division, who are on a 2-game losing streak and are a bit banged up across the team at the moment. And we talked about Giants already, kind of, are they the pretenders with that scoreline? And Washington have been doing a good job with Heineke there as their quarterback and kind of transforming into a very run-heavy team with Gibson and Robinson. So I feel like maybe, the Washington keeps it rolling here and they get another win.
They do go into this game at MetLife Stadium as slight favourites. The way the NFL's been this year, who knows? But that NFC East is enticing. There are scenarios where all 4 of these teams go through.
Yeah, well, all 3 are still in the wild card spots.
yep, they're all currently listed as wild cards.
Yeah, and
And it's probably a function of the NFC South being so poor,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
the West being maybe a little underwhelming.
Yep.
I agree. Moving on, Tennessee Titans take on Philadelphia Eagles and probably
The
one
AJ Brown game.
Yes, AJ Brown revenge game and probably one of the best games of this week. His replacement, Burks, has been heating up late after coming back from his injury, though I had strain there, but it was illness. He missed today's training due to illness. Should be okay. But outside of that, he's been heating up as Tannehill's favourite kind of outlet.
Yep.
It's still all through the King. The King is where it's at.
Did you see how he scored his first NFL touchdown?
It did me a solid because I had Burks on my bench and playing against King Henry. So, I'd take that 6-point swing any day of the week.
The ball got popped out of the King's hands,
Yeah.
and Burks fell on it.
First official touchdown for him.
Fumble recovery.
Yes, so very good there. For them, they take on the Eagles, though, who just can't avoid winning, only dropping that one game so far. Hurts setting all kinds of record. I think he set the quarterback rushing record last week, taking over Michael
record.
Vick. You can check that for me. But I guess the main thing, I mentioned Miles Sanders also been really good for them. They've been running the ball really well, which they've kind of gone away from heavy passing to Smith Brown and Goddard after the Goddard injury, and they've kind of then re-upped with the running game, and it's doing the job.
Sanders has been really good. You see Jalen Hurts had 100 yards in the first quarter against the Packers.
I did, of course. He's on my fantasy team. So I was quite happy.
You bastard. Me, rocking Aaron Rodgers all year on my fantasy team.
Yeah, and then losing him in the third quarter.
Jalen Hurts, second favourite for the MVP this year behind Patrick Mahomes.
Actually, let's have some MVP chat at the end of this week, because we should have a look at that. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes after Allen what did today. Allen's probably in that conversation too. Coaching of the year conversation is going to be pretty interesting. I got Mike Daniels down there as a potential one, but Kevin O'Connor from the Vikings, Nick, what's Nick's last name? The Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, I think the King. They've brought in Sue and Joseph to kind of fill in that middle. Otherwise, they have been run on a little bit, which was good for Tennessee.
The Packers were able to run on them too.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is interesting.
Exactly. And their secondary's been a little bit leaky of late too. But then can Tennessee contain Hurts, contain that offense of the Eagles who have been scoring points at will? I think it's a good game. I'll probably back Eagles.
Yeah, I'll go Eagles here too. And I was guilty of it probably a month ago, going, strength of schedule hasn't been that good. You know, I don't think they're that good a football team. They're that good a football team.
Well, this is probably their last big test this season.
And they can coast.
Yeah, they got Giants twice. It's the only, I think, team over 500 they got left. So
Hurts puts his feet up, week 17, week 18 maybe?
Maybe. It depends. You might be in that MVP chase.
Yeah, maybe. Just let me go out and run for 100 in the first quarter, and then I'll put the feet up.
Then I'll sit down, yes. What's his – did you have his records or his stats, James, of late?
Whilst you chase that up, have you seen his squat?
Yeah, 600 pounds. They've been talking about it. Like,
what?
Yeah, it's crazy. He squats houses. So
like he's playing the quarterback position, and he's one of the strongest players on that 53-man roster.
Oh, yes.
It's cool to see.
Yeah.
It's cool to see. And there's all that rhetoric around running quarterbacks. You can't have them. They're going to get hurt. He's a machine. And now it's kind of going to the stage where it's like, well, if your quarterback can't do that, is that a detriment to your football team?
I'm making James work overtime here because I think this is prevalent. Let's bring up the MVP chat.
I can do the MVP chat.
Do the MVP chat because, you've probably got – because the other one's Lamar in there. Lamar, Allen, and Hurts all have a very big running component to what they do, and that's kind of what keeps them in the conversation.
Lamar's drifted after that hot start. I think his
team's banged up. We'll get to that in a minute.
His team's banged up, and he hasn't had the big numbers that he put up in the first month of football. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes has actually gone into like $1.70 favourite. Followed by that man, Jalen Hurts. Tua Tagovailoa, if you don't mind a little bit of value for the big lefty, he's playing 7s. And then Joe Burrow, Josh Allen at 15s.
I think Josh Allen's probably a bit dirty down there.
I think so too.
Yeah,
He's thrown a few picks this year is probably his only criticism.
True. Well, he didn't throw one today. He just fumbled. So I guess, a couple of turnovers here and there. Either way, Eagles in that one. Let's talk... Hurts stats before we move on. Did you find?
What did you want to find?
Just run through his stats.
Well, his passing yards and rushing yards. Give us that.
Passing rating as well has been fire.
Yep. So far this season, he has passed for 2,560 yards. This is rushing yards.
Just go through the passing stats, and then I think you can scroll down for rushing.
17 touchdowns.
3 picks, 17 touchdowns.
Picks, yeah.
That's fucking wild. What's that rating? 115?
105.
Bit of mayo. Mayo never hurt.
Yeah, over 100 still fucking good.
And I don't know what QB rating.
Depends on what you're looking at. Rushing yards?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna count it, man. Control fine. There we
Rushing.
go. 597 yards, 8 touchdowns as it stands.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Last season, he rushed for 784 yards and 10 touchdowns. So
if you'd think he eclipses both of those numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think...
Definitely the touchdowns.
I think Lamar's record's 1,000 and something, 1,070 or something, and they reckon he might shit that in as well.
Is that the most rushing yards ever?
For a quarterback.
What did Vic ever put up?
Vic did 1,000.
but never.
But it was they only,
Lamar broke it.
Yeah, but I think Lamar broke it. So I think Vic probably someone search that. Vic probably 1,000, and I feel like Lamar's like 1,100 yards by a quarterback, and then Hurts is on pace to break that.
Oh, that's career. Hang on, there you go, season. Even talking about breaking records from Michael Vick is wild.
So they're 1,200 for Lamar last in 2019. So Vic was underneath that. At 1,000.
Lamar smashed it.
Yeah.
1,200 odd.
And
Vic only ever had 1,000 yards once, which is pretty wild.
Well, you got to remember he missed a big part of his career as well.
So Lamar has the record at 1,206.
Well,
then Vic at 1,039, and then Lamar again at 1,005.
So I know Vic had 900 there, and then what did he have in 2002? It's the far right one.
777.
Yeah, 777. So.
You know who else is going under the radar? Justin Fields is going to have 1,000 rushing yards this year. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wild. The year of the rushing quarterback.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The dual threat. It's very hard to account for, especially you spy him with a quarterback, spy him with a middle linebacker who's probably running a 4.6. Fast running backs. Fast quarterbacks. I had it right the first time. Is a big advantage, and you see the design runs, especially for like Allen and Lamar. Spread off, and Fields, Hurts are all doing the same sort of thing. So, yeah.
It's interesting looking at this list of most rushing yards in a season by a quarterback. Bobby Douglas and Randall Cunningham, shout out to them, in 1972 and 1990. And then everything on that list essentially is like 2014 plus.
Yeah, well, I think in the early 2000s was Vic, and then that kind of set the
tone.
The kids, the next lot of kids that come
for the future quarterback.
Yeah, and that's what you're seeing now as a result of that.
Where we're seeing Lamar, we're actually seeing...
probably started with Robert Griffin III, and then...
Russell Wilson, 2014.
Yeah, Cam Newton as well, and then that's kind of, that's grown...
MVP
That's
year
grown into what we've got now, where we've got, 4 or 5 guys that have fit that mold very well. So, segue, using 2 of those, Denver Broncos taking on Baltimore Ravens to get back to this. Denver have been bad. Let's not talk about them anymore because every time I talk about them, they play worse. The Broncos did add Lamar Jackson during the week to their practice squad. That is the corner, though. So
I was like, wow, that's cool, man. That's breaking news here on the Esky.
Yeah, the corner. Ravens have been a little bit hurt. Lamar missed practice during the week, but he practiced today, so should be able to play. This is at Baltimore. I don't think Denver's going to right the ship.
No, I don't think so.
Still no Hamler, still no Jared Jeudy. They're banged up all over the place, so no.
This is these 2 teams that are absolutely banged up, but Baltimore at home, you'd think get the job done there. I'm sorry, Sean, it's been a disaster year, really.
Yeah. If I said, how many starters on offense do you think have played most of the season, how many would you pick?
Wilson.
Starters.
Jeudy?
So out of 11.
Has Jeudy played most of the year?
He's hurt at the moment. He's missed the last 2 games. What's this one? So.
Is it 2?
It's 4.
4, with a few offensive linemen in there.
Yeah. We're on our 3rd left tackle, 3rd centre, and 3rd right tackle. None of the running backs we started training camp with us anymore.
Melvin Gordon by me.
Yeah.
That was funny.
It was fun.
Did that happened since our last episode?
I think so. Yeah. He fumbled, got cut. So it's about time.
And he puts a photo of him driving out of Denver.
He's the OJ Simpson.
So funny.
Driving out is
that was hilarious.
He's on the Chiefs practice squad. The Chiefs picked him up.
Yep, interesting.
Considering Denver plays the Chiefs, I think next week. So bit of game planning knowledge there, you would think. Yeah, our team's banged up. I was just like, why are we so bad? Then I realised, we played 2 undrafted rookies, our rookie punt returner as wide receivers, and then Kendon Hilton, who's most well known for being a playing quarterback for Denver during COVID. So I was like, that's the problem. So, yeah. Plus, play calling, etc. Still have the same head coach. he might not last the season. I think Chatty Everove will take over, but we will see.
We'll see what happens there with Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, Baltimore to win.
Cleveland, Houston.
Battle of the RBs, the two worst run defenses in the NFL up against each other. Pierce versus the full Chubb, both of my fantasy football team. Let's go. Run all the yards, please.
Can you run me through Pierce? Because the last few weeks a little underwhelming.
When you're down 30-0 at halftime against Miami.
Have to pass.
Yeah, that's the difference. And unfortunately, they've starting Kyle Allen. So I think they've changed up their running back rotation because they had been using Pierce more as a third down running back, but with the switch of quarterback, they've moved to more of a actual third down running back. So Pierce didn't play the fourth quarter at all against that game against Miami.
Who's their other running back? Rex Burkhead?
I think so, unless he's hurt. He was. But, yeah, this will be interesting. Deshaun Watson, first game back, hasn't been taking questions at all. Only will answer questions about football, so he's been pretty quiet. Some rumours that there's a whole suit of his suitors. No, that's not the right way.
Legal chat here.
Yeah, whatever you call the legal people suing him. The ladies have booked out a suit, and they will be in attendance. Sweet, yes.
I know that one.
A suit for a suit.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
we
it could
can't
be
afford. Unless it's at Wynn Stadium. Let's go.
Yeah.
So thoughts around this? Is he going to get heavily booed?
It's at Houston, yes. Of course he will. By the 1,000 fans that'll be there for this game.
They've struggled this year, haven't they?
Yeah. Well,
Didn't Houston
they've
go...
won one game, haven't they? They're
And obviously baseball nuffy here, but didn't the Astros do really well as well? And they had games on the same time.
Yeah. Texans are shitting it in. And that's why they're starting Kyle Allen for the second start, who's been pretty average as well through 2 picks last week. Watson looks ugly. Let's hope Chubb and Pierce get 30-plus carries in this one, and it's over quickly.
Rams, their season is do or die. It's probably already dead.
Done.
It's probably already dead.
Look at the names that are outs for this week for them.
Oh, true. Looking forward. Stafford gone. Donald gone. Coop already was on IR. And now Allen Robinson.
Season done last
So
week
they're
as well.
going out with Ben Skowronek as their best wide receiver or Van Jefferson?
I think Van Jefferson would be, but I think they've been managing him a little bit as he comes back from his ACL, I believe, too. So that's the big names. They're pretty banged up across the board. They did let Henderson go during the break as well. So, yeah, and then did you see Sean McVay taking shots on the sideline?
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah, the special teamer coming across and smacking him on the chops. So
completely incidental.
It is. I think it's just a statement of how the season's going. It's just been a shit show. The Hawks, on the other hand, they picked up Jonathan Abram, who was just dropped by the Packers after being dropped by the Raiders. Add to that defense a little bit. They've been a little bit leaky. Our defense has actually been pretty good, which is kind of the difference here. Their offense has kind of maybe taken a little bit of a step back of late. Their defense hasn't been as big of an issue as it had been. But yeah, overall, they're a solid team, well coached. Probably should handle a really dismal Rams at this point.
Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah, big time.
Miami and San Francisco. This game's fun.
Mm-hmm. Very fun, very fun. We talked about Coach of the Year, Mike Daniels. Some of his mic'd up chat has been elite. Trolling tour. There's been plenty of that. But as mentioned, we'll have a lot of challenges for that. A little bit of a worry for the Finns for Armstead, their left tackle. He's been injured. Otherwise, they're pretty healthy and been elite. McCaffrey been a little bit dinged up for the 49ers. He should play back at practice. They did lose Elijah Mitchell for probably the season, 6 to 8 weeks for him with an MCL strain. They have won 4 straight, though, on the back of very good defense.
Yeah.
So the question is, will that defense hold up against the Finns and their high-powered offense? This potentially could be one of the better games this round as well.
It's enticing, isn't it? Because I think San Francisco up there with Denver with least points per game. Mm-hmm. And then Miami obviously high-powered in their offense. Geez, I don't want to make predictions, but San Fran at home, hard to go past.
Yeah. I forgot to do my Denver joke.
Which was?
They've scored 8 touchdowns passing touchdowns this year. I've scored more this season, and I've got 2 kids and married. So,
Passing touchdowns?
yeah, I've scored more times this season than they have.
8!
And I've got 2 kids and I'm married. So there you go.
I've got 1 child, so I'm sitting on 1.
James got it. He's down there.
No children sitting on 0. Oh, God. Yeah. Us making sex jokes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, well, it's 10 o'clock. It's Friday night.
It is.
Late night TV. Turn on SBS.
To watch football.
Football, yeah.
wink, leading into the football. Anyway, should be a good game of football. I'm leaning towards Miami to keep rolling.
Interesting little upset, I suppose.
I think Jimmy G, if he doesn't re-sign with the 49ers, is going to have a lot of suitors next year.
Yeah, he's been good this year, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, just he has
Game manager.
that above average game manager. Like he's definitely can do you a job. He's probably not the most elite thrower of the ball that we talked about the guys in the MVP chase, but he's not going to lose you a lot of football games.
He's not a bad NFL quarterback.
No, not at all. Very good looking.
He's sexy, isn't he?
Yeah, they did Colt McCoy dirty the other week when they showed Jimmy G coming in, and then they flipped to Colt McCoy.
In like a quick message to Colt McCoy, he looked like a scrub.
He's got McCoy. Come on. Leave that boy alone.
AFC Championship game of last year.
Yes.
Kansas City and Cincinnati.
Yes. Mahomes had a baby during the week.
Patrick, a.k.a. Bronze.
Yes, Bronze. So got his father's name, of course. But instead of going the second route or junior, he will be known as Bronze. For them, they're getting their starting wide receivers back a little bit healthier. Juju's, I think, starting to get back as well. So they're overall a pretty solid football team. Mahomes has just been elite. Started to Travis Kelce. That sorts them out. For Cincinnati Bengals, Chase could be back, I think, is most likely he'll play, but the could tag, questionable. Mixon also should play for them as well, coming back from concussion. In this game, Burrow probably will need some of that extra help. Otherwise, they're pretty good. As they're trying to chase down the Ravens, they are on the same record, I believe.
7-4. Yeah, 7-4.
With a 3-game winning streak to kind of get them back in the hunt for winning this division. So big matchup here. Feeling like Kansas City probably keeps it rolling, but maybe another high-scoring football game incoming.
Couple fire matchups there in the late window. Let's talk about the Chargers and Las Vegas. Chargers a little bit less banged up this week, Sean.
Yes, starting to get wide receivers back. They started with Allen and Williams last week and lost Williams throughout the game. So Allen is back, but no Williams for this one. But Palmer and Carter have been good in
They've
filling
been pretty
in.
good,
So,
yeah. Both getting a lot of ball and getting in the end zone, actually.
Yeah.
Oh.
And for them, defense has been hurting them, I guess, is probably the main thing. They've got a few injuries, but they should be able to take care of this Raiders team. Raiders have been a lead on offense. Jacobs and Adams especially putting up massive numbers.
Let's talk about Josh Jacobs.
He's leading rushing at the moment.
He's been wild, dude, and few just
300 last week helps.
mega games. House that one last week,
To win in overtime.
86 yards.
Crazy.
Had him on my fantasy team the last 2 years, not this year. Passed on him.
Raiders do really well in overtime. So, another high-scoring overtime game incoming in Las Vegas, potentially.
Chargers 6-5. They'll be eyeing off the playoffs. You'd think the Raiders are out of it, but would like to spoil the party at home there for the Chargers. Colts and Cowboys.
Yeah, Colts come crashing back to earth a little bit. 2 straight losses for their rookie head coach, Jeff Saturday.
Day before Sunday.
Yeah, a little bit of mismanagement from him after a Matt Ryan scramble. So he didn't call a timeout, probably should have. Matt Ryan scrambling, he probably should call timeouts anyway. And then they take on Dallas, who, interestingly, have been playing elite defense.
As per last year.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, taking an even further step. They've gone from...
Micah Parsons will be the defensive player of the year.
Yeah, they've gone from,
Oh, did he get hurt?
don't think he did. You chase it up. 3 years ago, they were having to score 50 points a game to win because their defense was that bad. They've really invested heavily in that side of the ball and been playing really well. And then, which is good because the offense, as we kind of mentioned earlier, hasn't been as elite and high-powered.
No.
They've just been solid.
Pounding the rock.
pound the rock.
Dual-headed running backs in Pollard and Zeke.
Got Schultz back. Scored 2 tatters last week, and they've got some options there. Dak has just done the job he's needed to do, and they've played good defense to hold them out, and they've been winning games. But they still need to win. They've got to win to stay alive in the East. Either the Giants or Commanders, they win the game, they will have the equal amount of wins as them as the Cowboys. If Cowboys, for whatever reason, do lose this game against the Colts, but I think they should shit it in and win.
I agree.
Easily.
I agree.
Update on Parsons?
Apparently, he needs a haircut, according to this article.
Yeah, apparently. Some stupid article.
So he's okay. So didn't practice.
Looks like he's okay. Didn't practice. Probably got some soreness in his knees. I think knees are mentioned. So
carrying this team, etc., etc. And we'll finish with Monday night. The Saints are taking on Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Massive.
This is huge in that NFC South, which has been underwhelming.
Yeah. The record-wise makes them look stinky, but they are very, very much competing here. Saints, from what I can find out, are still sticking with Andy Dalton, which I think, we've been saying this is my opinions for the last couple of weeks, is Winston probably gives them more talent, more options there.
But Dalton, he hasn't been bad.
Yeah, but he hasn't been good. They didn't score any points last week.
But he hasn't been bad. Well, yeah, last week he was bad. They didn't score points. But before then, it hadn't been that bad.
Yeah, but he hadn't been
bad, but he's bad.
He's bad.
He was better than what we would be playing quarterback.
Yes.
That's it.
So he's got a pulse.
I just think there's better options. But either way, they take on Tampa Bay, and I was trying to figure this out, and Jimmy, maybe you can give us a bit of insight as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan.
Saints are father of Tom Brady Bucks. They are.
Well, that's also true. They have beaten them. But Tampa continues to struggle. And I was looking at their stats last week, and it's like, Brady looked good. Chris Godwin got over 100 yards. Like, why are they still losing? Is it on the defensive side of the ball? Is that where their problems are? What are your thoughts there, Jimmy?
I'll give you my thoughts. Rushing yards today, 803, 4 rushing touchdowns.
Last
in the league.
Well, they handed the Fournette's job over to White.
Rashad White.
Yep.
Yeah. So Rashad White, I think. Did he get 100 yards last week?
Not for long, hey, NFL.
Not at all.
Playoff Lenny, we were talking about him a few years ago.
What did you do recently for me?
They
fall out of form.
Re-signed Bernard the other week as well.
Giovanni Bernard.
So.
He's their third down guy.
Yeah. So I think it's just a running back. Like I shit on their secondary a little bit, but like their defense has been good. Like they're in the top 10 against the pass, against the rush. Passing game, Brady's elite. Tampa Bay's up there.
Maybe that is the difference.
It's the run game.
Yeah, the offensive line's maybe not as being as good as it was when they won the Super Bowl, but if you've got no run game there, then they're sending rushes at Tom Brady all the time, knowing he's not going to Lamar Jackson them anytime soon. So
you got no run game, you can't manage a game.
Yeah.
You can't wind that clock down. You can't.
Well, which has been an issue for them, is they have been in games or leading games and not being able to finish them out.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see that stats for Tampa. I probably scrolled past it already.
Has any of their notable offensive linemen been out? I know their center Jansen missed a bit.
Tristan, what's Tristan's last name?
Wirfs.
Had to have scans on his knees, but I think he's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was
there's no one notable.
Yeah, right.
So they lost to the Browns last week.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Chubb scored that touchdown in overtime. No, White had 64 yards, but he had 44. He had 9 receptions and 45 receiving yards, so over 100 yards in total for White.
Good fantasy as well. 9 catches.
You've got a couple injuries on the line, but
but without a run game, that's gonna that doesn't help you at all.
No.
So Saints.
Well, I mean, sorry. That being said, they're probably using the running back as a 6th lineman. Well, 7th or 8th with tight ends in there. So
pick out the blitz.
Try and pick up blitz, just get the ball downfield.
But that running option, any kind of play action kind of game is out the window if you can't run the football. So, and they have liked a little bit of that in the past for that Mike Evans deep shot. We'll have to see. Saints bogey team. Probably be a pretty close game, I would say, for this one. Arizona and Carolina Panthers on the bye. The only other news that kind of related to Tampa Bay, and I should probably check this, there was a arrest warrant out for AB.
What did he do?
Domestic violence. And he was holed up in his house with police outside, and they wouldn't go in because they already had guns. So he was in a long standoff with them throughout the day. It was like 6 or 7 hours.
It's pretty cooked.
Jeez.
But I haven't seen a ending whether they arrested him or not. And
It's kind of
The only news I've got is just
it's kind of
arrest
sad,
warrant
hey.
out.
Like, he obviously got that bell ringer from
CTE's
from Fonte's perfect, and then Public Eye and the rest of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when your best mate's Kanye as well. Going back to the
Yeah,
topic
he's
of
been
that.
on a header as well.
yeah. That hasn't been great for them. Like, I can't find anything of my quick scroll for an AB update. Yeah. Last thing I see, he was engaged in a standoff with police and has locked himself in his house. That was 12 hours ago.
That is unreal.
So that's NFL.
Thoughts and prayers.
It's basketball.
Basketball.
I need to drain some curry shots.
Curry sets, fires, puts it up. Bang!
Let's start off in the East. The Celtics are on a run. They're 9-1 in their last 10. Jason Tatum has actually overtaken the likes of the Greek Freak and Luka in the MVP race.
He's been averaging over 40, I think, for the last.
He's so
Couple
good,
weeks.
dude. He's so good. It's wild.
And there's such a good team around him as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of teams, your Nugs with Jokic, your Mavs with Luka. Tatum actually has a bit of support around him, you'd think.
Well, and now I think about it, it kind of reminds me of that Bucks team that won
2 years ago?
2 years ago. Yeah, that team that was kind of built around Giannis. They kind of remind me of that a little bit. Speaking of which, they're 15-5 as well.
No reason why they can't
No,
go deep again.
yeah, and Cavs as well, 14-8, and then the Pacers.
Surprise packet.
Yeah, beat the Lakers, who gave up that 17-point lead that we talked about recently. So
We talked about that pre-show. I don't think we've spoken about it.
no, yeah, sorry, we talked
on the
about
show.
that pre-show.
Yeah, sloppy job there from the Lakers to have a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter. LeBron just starting to look a little bit old, which
Well,
is
him
unusual.
and Westbrook have been, like the last week, they've been a little bit hotter than they had been in the past. Although they're actually finally starting to drain some buckets, which was good. And, they steadied the ship a little bit. They've won 6-4, so they're now 8-12, the Lakers, that is. So it's starting to work their way back into contention.
They've still got a sniff.
Still got a sniff. Yeah, well, and we gave them to Christmas. That was the barometer. We'll come and check in and see how they're going. If they're hunting around 500, then yeah, they're, like you say, they're still in a sniff there. Another team, I've kind of skipped over to the West here, that have also heated up a little bit is the Golden State Warriors, also on a 6-4 run, now at 500 at 11-11. I've skipped over the Timberwolves and the Mavericks, who have kind of on a little bit of a slide there. So they've been pretty good too. So, lot of basketball still to go. Suns, Nuggets heading up that divisions at the moment. But there's
Pelicans up there as well.
Pels, a healthy Pels this year are dangerous.
But anyway, like
How about that number sitting at number 6?
The
Yeah,
Kings.
the Kings.
Beat me up, Scotty.
11 wins.
Apparently, since they put that thing up, they've fired it up more times than they haven't.
Yes. Pelicans there at 13-8 are only 2 games ahead of 10th place.
So it's tight. It's tight.
In the West, tight.
It's also
Do it like a dugger.
tight like a tiger.
But
Gold member.
yeah. Whereas the East is, you've got Celtics.
It's
way out in front.
really starting to take shape at the top there with the Celtics, Bucks, and Cavs. And then there's like in that middle, you're kind of like, who's for real here? Are the Pacers for real?
Yeah.
I don't. It's early. Sixers been better. Hawks have been better. Nets. Ben Simmons continues to play good basketball.
1-3 in a row there for the Nets. So yeah, Ben Simmons being the elite defensive player that he needs to be, and added that element to that team, which they were lacking. So
It's almost more enticing as you go down to that bottom 5. You're like, well, the Heat and Bulls should be playoff teams. So who are the pretenders above them?
And then, like the Pistons today, they beat the Mavericks. So I don't think they'll probably play playoffs. But
I'm going to agree.
But, upsetting a Luka-led team is always very, very good. So.
Did we talk about Ivica Zubac?
Ooh, no, talk about the rebound.
29 rebounds in one game of basketball, 12 of them offensively. We did talk pre-show about who we thought might have had the most boards ever. It turned out it was Wilt Chamberlain. And how many was it, Monks?
55.
What did we say? Overs 40.
Yeah, over 40.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wild.
Absolutely wild.
That's 4 more than Bill Russell. Who
4
got
more than Bill Russell.
51.
Yeah.
Well,
So Zubac isn't even, he's not even in QE.
Nah, not even in the chat. Like this list, the top 20.
It's all just
odd
Wilt
in the-
Steele and Bill Russell, essentially.
That's it. And all in their 40s.
I'm going to seem like a real idiot here. How long's an NBA game? It's 60 minutes?
48.
48 minutes. So that's over 1 a minute of a rebound.
Yeah, mass. Yeah. How does that work?
How does that work?
Literally, Monks has got the list up there. It's Wilt, Bill, Wilt, Wilt. Nate Thurmond.
It feels like to me like
Wilt, Bill.
Was Wilt padding his stats
Well,
there,
so
bouncing it off the backboard so he'd get another rebound?
I don't know if it was different in those days, but there's no one like recent. Can you scroll down to someone like that's recent?
Because this, I'm assuming, would be defensive.
It's everything.
It's everything. It's
Yeah,
total.
so I suppose if you get a defensive rebound, run up the field,
you get both. Yeah, you get
you could get
rebounds
both
on both
in
ends.
one like swing of play, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you can get multiple offensive as well.
Yeah.
As I'm saying, you getting a rebound, throwing it up on the glass, getting another rebound to pad his stats.
There's like literally no one in the 90s.
No Rodman?
Nope.
No, this is all like
It goes to 38 is the bottom of the list, and that's in it's still Wilt, Bill, Wilt, Bill.
this was all right.
Anyways, maybe that's some research we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why was it so
Rebounds since
1969 it was
easy? Nice.
the latest in this list. Hang on, there's another list.
Since 1973, there must have been some sort of rule change or something.
Must be.
Yeah, so the top of that list is 32
as well.
Hey.
So that's
Yeah.
interesting. So Zubac with 29 is right up there.
Any big names you can see popping out?
A lot of Rodman, a lot of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
Yeah. I thought Rodman got a lot. So.
a few Moses Malones,
All right.
a few Charles Barkleys. Interesting.
Yes.
Anything else to cover off from the NBA?
No, Lakers still kind of all sorts.
Well, yeah, we're on Laker watch, so we'll have to see how they progress, and probably Golden State as well. See how they keep rolling too. Less worried about them. So here we go. We'll move into the final round.
Let's talk some fight news.
Yes. There we go. There.
Did you just press the basketball?
It kind of looked like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Any capitals? Yeah, all right. All right, what's going on? Fight night?
Fight night. Otherwise, it's pretty quiet, but it's a good fight night. The main fight being on it is Thompson taking on Holloway.
Holland.
What did I say? Holloway. Holland. Kevin Holland and Stephen Thompson, that is. This is Holland's 12th fight since 2012.
Jeez, that's wild, isn't it?
Yeah, I think between 2020 and 2021, he had 7 fights in a 12-month span, which was the most ever. So 12 fights since essentially the COVID outbreak, also the most active. So it's pretty crazy. He did take that 24-hour, late notice fight against Hamzat. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting one. Might be a pretty good fight for Holland because he doesn't have to worry about any wrestling, I'd say here, from the karate expert that is Thompson. So that's looking pretty good. RDA, and Bahrain take on each other in the lightweight division.
Rafael das Anjos
Yes.
Yep.
and Brian Barberena.
Is it so? Some names there. No, not lightweight. There would be they would be lightweight, unless he's still fighting at welterweight.
Welterweight.
It is a welterweight there.
Yep, that fights, yeah.
As well returns in the heavyweight division on this card for those kind of interesting names to watch out for. And then UFC 282's when is that, a week away or 2 weeks away? I think it's December.
Yeah,
Or in
I think it's
December.
next weekend.
Next weekend.
10th, yep.
Does anyone know anything about this Sergey Pavlovich?
He's only dropped one fight, and I think he's undefeated in the UFC so far.
Yep.
No, he's had one loss. His first
One
fight.
loss to Overroids back in 2018.
Yeah, his first fight in the UFC.
But
otherwise,
then-
he's been good.
Pretty impressive. Derek Lewis.
Yes, that was probably the big one.
Scary.
Shuivasa. Another Shui out of Shuivasa. Otherwise, boxing news, not a lot. Paddy the Baddie accepted the $1 million bag for a sparring session with Jake Paul.
This is to spar.
To spar, yeah. Because I think his UFC contract wouldn't allow him to box. But, Jake Paul's, put it online, hey, you don't want to spar me, blah, blah, blah. I've got $1 million if you want to do this. And he's gone, yeah, I accept that. Come to England, we'll get it done. So, keeping that theory going. I think we mentioned last potty the KSI Dylan Dennis fight was confirmed for the 14th. So, of course, Dylan had been angling for a long time for that Jake Paul fight. They've got beef. KSI entering himself into that conversation adds that storyline. Paul's been hunting Nate Diaz a little bit as well, considering he got officially released from the UFC during the week.
That'll be fun.
But the path essentially for the two of them was leading towards the KSI Jake Paul fight in the not too distant future. KSI have got Dylan Dennis on the 14th of January, and probably, depending on the result of that, maybe a mid-year fight for Paul and KSI. Unify the YouTube boxing as you will. But that's kind of that news. Otherwise,
Six rounds they're going.
yes, that's what they've been doing, I think, pretty regularly for their professional fights and the top of these misfit fight cards.
I hope KSI kills him.
I think everyone hopes KSI kills him, so that's what people are tuning in for. Tyson Fury.
Thank you, listeners. Hope you're having a great week. Enjoy the weekend. Hopefully, Socceroos, take it easy on Argentina.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3-4-0. We'd take that.
Yeah, easy.
Matthew Leckie,
Job done.
father of Lionel Messi. We'll see you next week. Are we podcasting next week?
Yeah, should do.
Should do. I think we're sweet next week. And then maybe one Christmas episode. And then it's Christmas.
Yeah.
Well,
We should get the next 2 episodes in. Yeah.
Yep. Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right. Please don't forget to check us out on the socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and the like. Thank you if you have gotten this far through this amount of dribble. We'll be back next week. It'll probably be a Sunday episode. Until then, ta-ta for now. Go Socceroos. Lionel Messi is son of Matthew Leckie.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
Bye.
And if anyone's got an idea for a chant, let's get something better than that.
Might have to work something out.
Righto. We'll see you next week. Catch ya.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.